Mute yourself real quick. Hello, ladies and germs. Welcome to the Empire and Exile podcast, live edition. First time live streaming here tonight. Joined by Josh. I am Dwarf. We're covering what we can of the 2020 election tonight. And screwy Corona will be more delayed than normal, and we are going to do our darndest to offer you a solid bit of coverage, the best we can for as long as we feel like doing it. So before we went live today, some of the graphics that we'll show you later when we discuss our predictions and for how states will fall, just for the transparency,
right? And not to mention all the mail-in ballots, of course, as well too. Mail-in ballots and early voting is the new hotness this year. So
were made actually even before, well, not before the first ballots were cast. Outside of that, one or two towns in New Hampshire that vote at midnight. But realistically, what's like 50 people in New Hampshire going to do? So yeah. So with that in mind, we are going to keep it going. So, all right, welcome to us. First thing we're going to go through here tonight, we're going to discuss our predictions for our pregame predictions here for the United States Senate.
It was good. It was, actually polls move fast. It was packed. It was packed for sure. My precinct, I was kind of lucky, I guess. My precinct was the shortest line by far. There's probably about 10, between 5 and 10 that vote in my, in my building. I had the shortest one by far. So, it moved decently fast. I thought they did a decent job. I know people are concerned with the, hand sanitizers and all this stuff. All the scaredy cats were, out there with the hand sanitizers, making sure that they didn't get the Rona, and everybody had their masks on except me. And that was about it, really. It was pretty uneventful for me. I gladly and proudly wasted my vote on Joe Jorgensen. Not a wasted vote in my mind, just throwing out what the statists view me as. But I put my vote for Jorgensen Cohen out there, and didn't vote straight libertarian. I don't believe in straight ticket voting, but I did vote for a lot of libertarians, a couple of Republicans, one Democrat, and that's about it. How about you, man? No. Nothing at all. Not for me. No.
Okay.
Nothing at all. A couple people out front with their signs and stuff, but very friendly, very nice.
Electioneering, like we're seeing a lot out of the state of Pennsylvania today, well, specifically Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Nothing like that.
Right. Yeah. No, I mean, there was a Biden, a crew of Biden people with their a sign for every single Democrat running. There's a few Trump people with a sign for every Republican running. They were waving at each other and being friendly. It was nothing at all. They were being friendly, not even to just the people walking in. They were even being friendly to each other. It was just, they're just there to do their thing.
Cool. So my experience this morning, we were, polls opened in Indiana at 6 a.m. Girlfriend and I, we went and we were originally going to get up at like 5:30 to be there just after 6. That didn't happen because I stayed up too late last night prepping all the graphics and behind the scenes stuff here today. So we rolled in about 7:20. We started a stopwatch. We put I stuffed our ballots into the counting machine thingy at about
not me either.
an hour.
Me
and
too.
16
Me
minutes
too.
Later. So when we got there, the line was probably 300 yards long. It was steady moving. Believe it or not, it was not exclusively boomers working the polls in Indiana. Yeah, so which is a big surprise for me. This is my first time voting in.
Oh, I mean, I feel like you're using the term boomer. I know you're using it in a derogatory way. But you're using the term boomer very lightly. I mean, I'll take boomers. That's people in their 60s. In my old district where I used to vote, if the person was under 80, you were lucky. Yeah, I mean, so I mean, boomers are still pretty functional in a lot of cases. But no, I had some young people for sure at mine too.
It was a miracle. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, and just to give people a quick update right now, referencing the Fox News map, mostly because it is the most easy, convenient thing to currently, they have... just hit refresh and it's taken longer than I thought. Okay, they have Vermont and Virginia for sure going to Biden.
Really?
Kentucky,
You're not buying that one?
Virginia for sure going.
That was
to
the
Trump.
first state called by all the major news.
Outside of, I don't think Virginia's over. No, I'm not buying that one.
Okay, so you're already viewing discrepancy.
They called it before. They called it like
in the talking heads.
The ratio was like Trump 65, Biden 25. Like it was. Well, it's one, it's one precinct reporting, and I don't know what to think about that. So what I'm saying is I'm not willing to put that one in the
nor
bag
does MSNBC.
yet. Whereas several news agencies I know have called my state of Indiana. Fox does not list that as done yet. They've already, we've already reelected our governor, I believe, it's per the.
I'm flipping around to all of them right now, Dorf, and there's just I flipped over to MSNBC on the computer on the live stream for a second, and they just flashed. They blew up the entire screen with I got sound off on all of them. I have 4 different screens going, but I'm just laughing at them because they flashed it, fireworks, like explosions. I think there was a tank. I don't know. And they're just, blowing up, breaking election news. Ohio is too close to call. That was it.
Ohio
that was the breaking.
Only closed like a half hour ago.
Yeah, exactly. I think it closed, 18 seconds ago. So like, Ohio is closed. We can start reporting on it. And it's too close to call. It probably will be for the rest of the evening. But
all right. Anyway, let's get on to our Senate map here. So our basis for that was we both Real Clear Politics. The Real Clear Politics no toss-up baseline map, and went and made our modifications from there. So, no toss-up map as our baseline, and went and made modifications to there. So, for example, we didn't disagree really on RCP's safe, likely, and leans list. Minus one. Josh, the only one Josh disagreed with there, he had the Democrats keeping the seat of... Actually, let me flip over to your map here, sir, since we do have a graphic of that. he has the Democrats pick, Chris Coons' seat being safe, Ed Markey's safe being seat, Jack Ray, Dick Durbin, Jeff Merkley, Cory Booker, Mark Warner. He has Cory Gardner losing in Colorado, which is pretty much what everybody else has. Former governor of Colorado, John Hickenlooper, will more than likely pick that up.
And for those of you who aren't familiar with John Hickenlooper, he's a national name. At least he's trying to be. He was governor of Colorado.
He ran for president for like 5 minutes.
Right, that's what I was going to say. He was one of the 700 people that ran for president or ran for the Democratic nomination this year. This guy's connected. This guy's like a full Illuminati reptilian baby blood drinker. I mean, he knows where all the secret satanic Illuminati spots are. He's connected, and let's be real, when these guys get in with one party or the other, of course I'm saying most of that in jest, all right, don't nobody flip out, but this is a guy who's very well connected. He was governor, he's been term limited, he ran for president. He's not going to not have a seat somewhere.
Breaking.
So they're
news.
gonna find a spot for him somewhere in government.
Breaking news: Cocaine Mitch has been projected by Fox News to hold on to his seat in Kentucky.
We all kind of, I think, expected that one.
Yep. So, all right. So, and the to finish off Josh's Dem list here, he has the open New Mexico seat, which was previously held by a Dem, going to the Republican. Other than that, Jaheen Shaheen maintains her state in New Hampshire.
For sure.
The only thing I disagree on that list is I think the New Mexico. We'll look at my map later. All right, we're safe Republican seats: Tom Cotton, Bill Cassidy, Jim Inhofe, Shelley Moore Capito, can never say her name right. Jim Risch, Ben Sass, Mike Rounds, and Cindy Loomis, who's taking over for the retiring John Brasso in Wyoming. Doug Jones of Alabama is losing his seat to, oh God, we have an old ball coach in the United States Senate now, Tommy Tuberville, former coach at Auburn, Cincinnati. There's at least one more. I believe it's one of the schools in Texas. I'm forgetting. The old ball, it's not the old ball coach being Steve Spurrier, but an old ball coach will not be a part of the United States Senate. Mitch McConnell, like we just said. Tennessee, which is Lamar Alexander's seat, he's retiring, is likely to be picked up by Bill Hagerty, a Republican as well. Arkansas, both Georgia seats, Kansas, Mississippi, and Texas's races are all going to the Republicans. So let's get into the Josh's map here. So in Josh's map, this is how he has the toss-ups going. Josh, I'll kick it to you. Go ahead and explain your toss-ups here, how you have them going, and what's our final total here.
Okay, I'll throw in one quick thing with the open seat in New Mexico. My reason for predicting that is extremely simple. I think a lot of the talking heads and a lot of the people projecting it like to overthink these things or pretend like it's more difficult than it is. Flat out, I think Trump's taking New Mexico. So with Trump taking New Mexico, the open Senate seat is going to go Republican. Very few people in the United States of America show up to the polls. I know some do. I happen to be one of them. But very few people go there and vote for the Republican president and vote Democrat in the Senate race, especially when an incumbent is not involved. Maybe if it's the old incumbent and they've been bringing home the bacon, maybe you're Cocaine Mitch, maybe you're Lindsey Graham, that can be a different story. But when you're looking at an open seat, if you're going there to vote for Trump, you're going to go there and you're going to vote for the Republican candidate for Senate, and he's going to win. So if I'm wrong about that, it's probably because I'm wrong about Trump taking New Mexico as well. is my line of thinking here. With my toss-ups, Tom Tillis was listed as a toss-up in our original list.
Well, this is RCP's list. This isn't what we considered a toss-up.
Right.
This is just what RCP, based on polling data, said.
Right. Tom Tillis is on that list. He's a very well-liked guy in North Carolina. I really don't see that. I really don't see that going the other way. I definitely think Tom Tillis takes that seat. Lindsey Graham being mentioned as a toss-up. I know they spent a gazillion dollars to try to unseat Lindsey Graham, but Jamie Harrison's going down.
They also spent a gazillion dollars to unseat Cocaine Mitch, like $100 million. Not kidding. The DNC spent $100 million on the Kentucky Senate race, and Cocaine Mitch is going to beat her like 60-40.
They literally spent, and this is not an exaggeration, in the state of Kentucky to try to unseat Cocaine Mitch. They spent approximately $4 million per resident of Kentucky. Now, I hate to sound like a socialist. I'm not a socialist. I hate to sound like one of those people that said, "Why don't you just give the money to something better?" But literally, like, you could have just given. You could have saved half your bankroll and given every person in Kentucky $2 million.
I mean, it's not quite that ridiculously high, but could have given them a couple $100. $75 million was the total spent on the McConnell by the Dem side of the McConnell race. $75 million in Kentucky.
Right.
Oops. Wow. Breaking. New York Times gives Trump a 93% chance of winning Florida. Fox News still lists Trump as trailing.
Where is that now?
That is the New York Times. The New York Times is also reporting Georgia is a 60-40 Trump. Florida is now 94-6 Trump. Wowzer.
Okay.
So...
a big one, another. By the way, when I was saying that, I'm not going to go back and redo it just to make myself not, be too goofy. I was setting myself up to rip on that MSNBC anchor who, said Mike Bloomberg could have just given everyone $1 million.
Yeah.
That was my initial joke, so people aren't trying to do the math and say,
oh yeah.
What's Josh talking about?
I'm going to put us back on camera here for a second, Josh.
Sure.
What you drinking tonight, by the way?
It's Bud Light.
Bud Light. So I have a local rye whiskey, Indiana whiskey in South Bend, Indiana. New rye.
Nice.
They have a new rye. This is from batch 2. It is freaking excellent. Stop in if you're in. It's a 84 proof. Freaking smoother. Made with all Hoosier.
Awesome.
All Hoosier grain, baby.
And they are not giving us any money tonight.
We're just any money for that. I actually spent $50 on that bottle, and I'm gonna enjoy it. So.
Show it again, man. Come on, let's endorse it. Let's endorse it, even though they didn't give it. Endorse it just because it's a good product.
Actually, when I went there this weekend and was I think it was the guy who owns it, or he's at least a distiller. Probably not going to appreciate my endorsement. Let's put it that way. So, anyway, I have the wrong politics.
No, and hey, that's, you know what? As a libertarian, that's what the free market dictates, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is that do you know what one of my biggest pet peeves is, Dorf? I've been listening to I've been watching a lot of liberal news. I don't normally watch this stuff, but I've been watching a lot of liberal news, been listening to a lot of conservative talk lately, just to kind of prep for the election, see what both sides are saying, what the two sides of the duopoly are throwing out there to their peeps.
Oh, quit whining. If libertarianism would be, had anything, it would be more successful.
That's fine. That's fine. That's right. No, I actually there's some of them I enjoy listening to. And we have a local AM station that plays a lot of conservative talk guys, and a lot of them I like. A lot of them I really like a lot, actually.
1600?
1400.
Oh, 1400
AM, the Patriot. No, they do good work. They have some good shows on there. But they one of the things they've been shilling lately is Honor Bound Coffee. This is this product called Honor Bound Coffee that it's made, by veterans, and all this money goes towards these veterans, and the coffee costs way more than coffee should cost, but it's supposed to be pretty good coffee and it goes to a great cause. And I know I'm going to sound like such a jerk right now, but stuff like that drives me nuts, man.
Yeah.
Because as a coffee drinker, I should be able to choose which coffee I want to buy based on cost and what I like. And when I hear those commercials, I think, don't try to guilt me into drinking your coffee because it's going to help some good cause. That's crap. I like Folgers because it's cost effective and it tastes good. Okay, that's what I like to drink. So quit trying to sell me on some crap based on pull on my heartstrings to make me get make me honor bound to buy this coffie.
Yeah,
honor bound to buy your honor bound coffee.
It's just knockoff to Black Rifle coffee anyway.
Of course it is, and I can't stand stuff like that. I can't stand it. If the free market should dictate these things, you shouldn't care how the guy that distills is that the proper word, distills your rye?
Yeah.
Okay, you shouldn't care how the guy who distills your rye votes. You care, do you like how it tastes? Is it within your price range? Because taste isn't always the only thing. You have to go by your price range too, say like, well, I love Dom Perignon, so that's all I'll drink. Well, it's you can't always afford the best stuff. You got to be able to go with what you can afford and what you like. So I just I don't like that. I don't like the idea that I know people that boycott Chick-fil-A because they're conservative, or people that want to go to Chick-fil-A because they're conservative. Go to Chick-fil-A because you like it better than Popeyes, or go to Popeyes because you like it better than Chick-fil-A.
Oh, by the way, so
but don't listen to me. Do what you want to do based on solely on what you want to do.
Another interesting thing here. We haven't brought this up live on air, but political betting. We talked about this earlier in the day.
Yes.
So betonline.ag, but somewhere where you can online gamble. Odds at before the first poll closed, Trump plus 180, Biden minus 210 have shifted to, because you can live bet throughout the entire process, to Trump plus 125, Biden minus 145, also known as Trump's looking good.
I never question the bookies, man. You can question them, but always take it. Bookies know their stuff.
They're not in the business of losing money.
Mm-hmm. No, don't. Not wise to go against bookies. So, but you want to finish up some of these Senate things, or? I'm
gonna go with mine. So, just one more brief thing about Florida. Essentially, everybody but the Panhandle, which is open an hour later usually. It's a pretty much dead
different time zone.
Yes, Panhandle is in Central Time. The Biden technically up by less than 1% of the vote. Panhandle is deep red. Put it on the board. Hawk Harrelson, the former announcer for the Chicago White Sox. You put that one on the board. Yeah. It wasn't a particularly good impression, and I apologize. But
it's all good, man. I think we got you. I think we got you.
All right, so we're gonna go to my Senate map now.
Hey, can we mention one more that matters to me especially, and that's Michigan's Senate race.
Oh yeah,
which is being well. It's a pretty well talked about one nationally. It's here. Gary Peters is the sitting senator. He hasn't been there long. He's a one-termer. Gary Peters has been around in Michigan politics forever. He's, ran and lost for a bunch of stuff. He finally did get the Senate. He's a fairly well-respected guy. John James is jumping in there. There's whispers in the, in the Republican boomer, sections of Michigan that John James, if he wins, is going to be, the next president or, president within 20 years from now.
No.
I'm not buying it. I think Gary Peters wins this thing. I've lived in Michigan my whole life. I've yet to see, except for Spence Abraham, who decided to not campaign against Debbie Stabenow, and I believe in the year 2000 it was. Yeah. I've never seen a senator get unseated here. So I'm not buying that this one's close. I think Gary Peters is gonna hold this seat, and I know this is somewhat contrary to what I said a little while ago. I do have Michigan going to Biden this in my electoral map, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say Gary Peters keeps that seat even if Trump takes Michigan. The only other one I want to comment on real quick is Minnesota. They're calling this who is it, Tina Smith versus Jason Lewis seat. They're calling that a close one. Minnesota is a Dem stronghold. I'm not buying that one for a second. I think Tina Smith wins that one with ease.
The reason why I think that one's in play is you could, just based on the activity of the presidential candidates here in the final closing weeks, if it was such a stronghold, why did both Kamala and Biden spend time in Minnesota? They should have been spending time in trying to flip Texas or North Carolina.
Okay, well, they weren't going to flip Texas, that's for sure. But that's a media fallacy in my mind. But we'll see tonight. I don't know, but one thing I will say, Dorf, is I certainly don't endorse most of the candidate moves that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have made throughout this election. So I don't know why they did that. I don't know why Joe Biden's done a lot of things, why him and his campaign have done a lot of things they've done this time around. I don't agree. Like I said, I stand behind it. Since we're quoting sports people, I'll throw out some Rasheed Wallace, print it on the front of the page, the top of the page, the middle of the page. Tina Smith takes Minnesota.
Ball don't lie.
Ball don't lie.
All right, so let me go to my Senate maps now on the screen again. So, actually, the New York Times is a better graphic than does Fox News. So, New York Times is now my hub. All right, so my map here. This is fairly similar to what RCP projects. The only thing I was different with is I have Tom Tillis holding on to his seat in North Carolina, defeating Cal Cunningham. Other than that, I was right with the no toss-ups map. The one I'm not confident about is McSally in Arizona. There was some electoral fuckery last time in Arizona when it was the McSally v. Kristen Sinema. That was a couple years ago, and then McSally was then installed to finish out John McCain's term in the Senate because he died in the chair. So the people who run the statewide elections did some pretty corrupt shit there, which flipped it after the polls were technically closed from McSally to Sinema. So it's going to be that close where that sort of political fuckery can flip the race again. And it's that close in polling that I'm just for that reason, I'm not willing to give McSally the edge. However, some folks I know that live in Arizona are like, she's up like 6. Don't worry. If we're honest here, that's not what polling says. She'll win by like 5 or 6 points. Along with Orange Man that's their prediction. So I don't know what to believe there.
I'm trying to run through my notes here. I can't remember. You said you're leaning towards Mark Kelly on that one, right?
Yes, I do have on my official map. I do have Mark Kelly as the victor there.
Okay, yeah, because I put that one as Martha McSally, and basically for my same reasoning is with New Mexico. I think Trump takes Arizona. With that, I think Martha McSally is going to go down. The other reason I really want to go Martha McSally is name recognition is huge, man. It is absolutely huge in these congressional races.
Do you know who Mark Kelly is?
McSally's, yeah, I do. But if Martha McSally's got name recognition all the way over here in the Great Lakes, and they certainly remember her over in the desert.
Okay,
so I say Martha McSally on that one.
Mark Kelly's an astronaut, so that's the one thing that may neutralize that traditional name recognition advantage is, Mark Kelly's been to space. So
yeah, supposedly. Only people that lie more than Washington is NASA.
Not the time for that, sir.
Well, Dorf doesn't want to hear it. Dorf's not woke.
Okay, so
he's still buying NASA's lies.
New York Times, if we want to say New York Times is called Oklahoma with 0% reporting for Trump, Mississippi for Trump with 0% reporting, Alabama for Trump with 0% reporting, Tennessee for Trump with 0% reporting, and Kentucky for Trump with 37% in. West Virginia West Virginia was always going to go Trump with only 4% in, even though Trump is technically trailing in that race. They've called it for him. New York Times also currently has Trump has a 95% chance of winning Florida, 78% in Georgia. However, North Carolina seems to be on an upset. Trump is up 26 in the 26 points in the number of votes recorded, less than 1% in. They give it a 2/3 shot for Joe Biden to take that seat. Pennsylvania and Ohio still too early to call. Ohio has 31% in. It is Biden plus 18. However, pretty much the only places that have reported their votes so far are blue strongholds.
We have more breaking news, too, from cable news, by the way, Dorf. Pennsylvania is too close to call.
Ba, 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 ba.
Yeah,
God, if my computer was had a little bit more horsepower, to hooked up a soundboard, ran a soundboard off of it too, where we could have just done our breaking news.
I could have rigged it up, man. I got a cassette player here. I could have just. Yeah, I've been seeing a few of those, Dorf, for a while. The West Virginia has been being called for a while now by a couple of outlets. I feel like a lot of these, Dorf, I'm really scared, honestly. Maybe scared is the wrong word because that makes it sound like I care a lot more than I do. But I'm kind of scared that I'm old enough. I know you're not. I'm old enough to remember the 2000 election.
I am not. I was 9.
Okay. I was not. I voted in that election. I am that old. But I'm old enough to remember when they started calling states that they had no business calling, and this led to a lot of the issues with the Bush Gore, Supreme Court issue, all these things. And that's something that they had been growing into for a while. They did it in 92, they did it in 96, but those elections weren't that close. So it was fine. But in essence, they did a lot of guessing. Usually educated guessing, but guessing, no less. And they then got away from that. They actually did some, made a decent journalistic move. And in 2004 and years afterwards, they started saying, hey, we're not going to talk about anything until the polls close in that state. We're not going to make any guesses until the guesses are based on data. But I feel like they're getting right back to that issue where they're making guesses in essence. Again, educated guesses perhaps, but guesses nonetheless. And they're just saying that, nothing's in West Virginia, but we can go ahead and make that guess and call it first, because they're back to wanting to compete with one another and to see who can call it first. And they're trying to make the safe ones, but sometimes they're not as safe as people think.
So just
because polls suck.
Quick update on what Fox has projected. They've now moved Florida, South Carolina, Georgia, and North Carolina into likely Trump. Texas is likely Biden. Michigan and Ohio is likely Biden. Still in the probably Trump is Indiana and Kansas. Solid blue is Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire is likely. Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Connecticut, Maryland, Delaware, D.C., and Virginia. Leading. It's not likely. So anything I said was likely is leading, not likely.
Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, I'm not interested in hearing these likely things. This is that's not great journalism there. That's definitely shouldn't be being said by anybody. But I'm not saying that they're not saying it. Just that's rough.
Georgia upped by New York Times 78% chance Trump. Okay. So
the biggest state on the board right now, from what I'm seeing,
Pennsylvania
is Illinois is being called for Biden.
Not
Illinois, sixth biggest. Not a surprise.
No, not a surprise. When was the last time Illinois in a statewide thing went red?
Right. No, I mean, I'm just saying that is, as of right now, when we're talking definites or it looking like definites, Illinois, sixth biggest state in the union, 20 electoral votes is going to Biden. That, to me, that's kind of the biggest news out there. New Jersey, which I believe is the ninth biggest state, right?
I think you're right.
That is also being called for Biden.
Yep.
So that's I'm willing to call 50 electoral votes for Biden right now, with Virginia, Vermont, Illinois, New Jersey.
Well,
absolutely.
As of right now, so New York Times live projected total is Biden 85, Trump 55, with 398 up for grabs. Popular vote is a slight edge of about just under 100,000 for Donald J. Trump.
Okay.
But that's in places he should be running up the score, so that's, Trump's path to victory likely didn't include a popular vote then. So,
right. And the popular vote. I don't mind talking about it, but as we all know, it's irrelevant.
Yes, it is.
It means absolutely nothing. Connecticut and Delaware too. I definitely put those in with Biden. So I'm calling 60 for Biden right now. 63 actually, because DC is in.
Oh yes, we did forget to mention. We do have guests open, so we just received a call. Who is this here on the line? Hey, stranger! I recognize that voice.
Manuel.
Yeah, I recognize that voice. How's it going, buddy?
It's going all right. How you guys doing?
We're doing
awesome,
all right.
Man. Much better now that we're casting the pods with you again. It's like getting the band back together, man.
Well, I had to call in because I tuned in for a second and I heard Josh say that Mark Kelly doesn't have name recognition, and Dorf, you rightly pointed out that he is an astronaut, but keep in mind too that he's also married to Gabby Gifford, who survived that gunshot wound to the head when she was representative. So
I did forget about that part, but yes, you are correct about that.
So yeah, there is plenty of name recognition both ways.
But name recognition as a senator, I guess, is what I was trying to say. I feel like, I mean, like, think about it here in Michigan for years and years. If Carl Levin, who doesn't sound like a popular name, but he's had all the name recognition here. If Carl Levin's, opponent was Kim Kardashian, he would still win by name recognition.
Yeah, but you can't compare Carl Levin though Martha McSally for 11 was he was in the Senate.
He was in the
Michigan
Senate for like 40 or 50 years, right?
Yeah, I mean,
he was in there for a long time.
He looked like Ben Franklin, but was a little bit older.
I mean, it'll be telling. I'm not saying who's gonna win. I mean, if you put a gun to my head right now, I would say probably Mark Kelly's gonna win. But I mean, you never know. I mean, it's gonna be telling to see what happens with the presidential race, how that race goes as well. So.
Adam, do you agree with my sentiment? I know you're disagreeing with, and that's fine. I totally get you. You're right. You know, but Mark Kelly is an astronaut. You know, he you know, if the Earth isn't flat, he might have flown off of it. Just kidding. But do you agree that what the state does in the presidential election is going to have a huge momentum on the senatorial race? That if Trump takes Arizona, Martha McSally will most likely win, and vice versa with Mark Kelly and Joe Biden.
I don't think it's totally unheard of. I mean, if you take Michigan, for example, I believe the last time they had a Republican senator was back in '94, and that was Spence Abraham. And back during that time, I mean, that's when you had Clinton and everything holding on to Michigan as a as an electoral victory in the presidential races. So
that was the same example I used too.
Yeah, I mean, it's not totally unheard of that you see one, a Democratic or a Democrat win a state and a Republican senator win. I mean, it can go either way. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised either way if Trump ended up taking Arizona, that McSally wins, and vice versa. I mean, it's so I mean, the polling and everything like that. I mean, I think if 2016 taught us anything, that is to expect the unexpected. So, yeah, McSally could win it if Trump wins it. If Trump has a good night, I mean, I certainly believe that probably suits better for Martha McSally than Mark Kelly, but you never know.
I do want to, certainly concede your guys' point about the Mark Kelly being an astronaut, and that is a big deal. But you guys realize it's the 2000s, right? He's not Buzz Aldrin. I mean, how many astronauts can the average person name? I mean, if he was Justin Bieber or something, I would be totally, in your camp with he's a celebrity. But I don't know that astronauts are really celebrities these days.
You've got Tom Hanks, you've got Kevin Bacon.
By the way,
Neil Armstrong.
Well, I've got you guys both here. Several major news outlets have just called Florida for Trump.
Okay, well, that's big.
I mean, that's a state that he had to win.
Yep.
So, I mean, it keeps them in the race. It keeps path to victory. It keeps one of his paths open. If he, I thought there was a couple of telling things in there, some telling little snippets in there, county by county. Pinellas County ended up going, I believe, towards Biden in this one, which
didn't look like that this morning.
Trump
I know that
time.
It did not look like that this morning. It was like almost like a 3-1 margin Trump, but
yeah, I mean, if anything, what ended up if that does in fact go towards Trump, which if they're calling it, you got to look down in Miami-Dade County where
Hillary won by like
Joe Biden was.
Yeah, Hillary
Joe
won
Biden
by
was
like 30.
Underperforming Hillary.
Joe Biden only won the county by 9 points, where Hillary, I believe, won by like 30.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean, he made some strides with, the Cuban Latinos and the Venezuelan Latinos down there. I guess Rick Scott's terrible Spanish paid off in some sense. So, good call on Biden on getting Ana Navarro too as your Spanish outreach kind of liaison with that. Go ahead and get a nice neocon in there to to help get Hispanics to your side. But I mean, you know what? It's not surprising. I mean, you start running the socialist narrative down in those counties with a bunch of
It plays well down there.
exiled Cubans and with a bunch of exiled Cubans and Venezuelans, then yeah, it'll play well in any sense. So it's not surprising. I mean, on my map, I didn't have Florida going to Biden anyway. So
throw us a quick election prediction, Adam. Who's coming out of this tonight?
Yeah, what did your map look like? I'm just curious.
I had Arizona going to Biden, and then I had Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin going to Biden as well. And that's basically the election right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
By the way, guys, I want to throw something out for our listeners, real quick. Adam called in and we instantly, said hi and recognized his voice. But for those of you who don't know, on the line right now is Adam Hernandez, proprietor of the EmpireMedia.com, somebody who Dorf and I have both cast with and worked with in the past. Definitely knows his politics, definitely knows his stuff. So I just wanted to, say who it is that we're talking to here, in case some of you didn't know. Very well respected individual.
well, thank you.
Yeah. Worst comes. I mean,
I'm glad he can't see me smirking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's walking around where we're getting shaky cam of what looks like he must be taking a walk in your neighborhood or something.
Oh,
tonight. Yeah, you've been on camera the entire time.
I actually just walked by my polling place, even though I didn't actually go in person to vote this year. When time do polls close in Michigan, Josh? Is
8
it
o'clock.
9?
8.
No, it's 8. It's 8.
Is it 8?
Yeah.
Hey, come to
they're closed.
Come to the
They're
Hoosier
closed.
State. They
Although
close at 6.
in the state of Michigan, though, but in the state of Michigan, if you are in line at 7:59, you get to vote.
Well, there's a lot of old people in Indiana, Dorf, so they gotta, they gotta get those
6 to
polls.
6.
Oh yeah, 6 o'clock. That's like midnight there.
Dude, it's 6 to 6 here, man. I'm 6A to 6P.
So
yeah.
But we also have like a month and a half of early voting, so it's no either.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of old people, they might die before election day, so get that vote in.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I like the mail-in voting though. I mean, that was kind of nice because you kind of sit there and look at the different candidates down ballot and
you can really
do some research
decide,
and.
Yeah. Hey, unfortunately, I kind of live in a one-party county, so most of my county races, there were some county commissioners races that weren't one party, but pretty much everything here was uncontested Democrats.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't waste my time voting for, candidates who, it's like pick 3 and you can pick up to 3 and there's like only 3 candidates running. I'm like, fuck that. I'm not voting for any of those guys. it's like library trustees or something.
Oh yeah.
Nah.
Do you know what even more funny about voting here in Indiana? So in St. Joe County, Indiana, where I live, we had to vote for county coroner. That's an elected position.
Really?
The coroner is an elected position.
Cool.
Hey, I mean,
that's even cooler than dog catcher.
Oh man, if I was running for like county coroner, I'd be like totally going like the Undertaker angle, like WWE Undertaker angle.
Oh, it's in November, so think of the commercials you could run during Halloween.
Oh man, it would be great.
Well, the crazy part is
November, vote for
the lady
vote for Adam Hernandez for county coroner. Your life may depend on it.
Josh, it would scare the shit out of your son. That's for sure.
It would. It would. Yeah, he runs out of the room when the Cedar Point commercials for Halloween come on.
And it's a partisan position too. That's the funny part.
Sure.
So like each part, there was a primary for coordinator. There was a primary for coordinator.
Yes.
Man,
that's awesome.
I just don't get it.
I figured the Republicans would take that since they're all about death this cycle, right?
Yeah.
Hey, I thought you were an independent now, Adam. Are you back to Republican hating? I know you hate Republicans, but
I hate both corporate parties. I mean, they're both They're both corporate parties run by oligarchs, and that's what we're in. We're not in an oligarchy. We're not in a democracy. We're in an oligarchy. So,
Adam, if you don't want to answer, I totally understand. I know you're not. You're a caller here, not a. If we were back on the XCast, I'd push you. But were you a Howie Hawkins guy today, or?
I love Howie Hawkins. I love Howie Hawkins. Angela Walker.
Is
I
that
can't tell if you're
today, or,
I can't
or
tell
don't
if
you
you're
wanna
being
say?
sarcastic or not.
No, I do. I do like Howie Hawkins and Angela Walker. I thought Michigan was a pretty safe state coming down to the wire. So figured they would, they deserve to vote.
Well, we got you both. Well, we got you both here. Let's do like a brief aside here. The Senate race. I want to hear you guys. Senate race in Michigan. John James versus Gary Peters. Is Gary Peters going to hold on here? Because quite frankly, John James seems like a nice guy, but God, is he boring.
It seems like it. It was tight, I would say, like probably a month ago. It has since. It seems like it's moved a little bit more towards Peters. And I would say, yeah, I think Peters had like a 7-point lead, according to like WDIV. They're polling towards the end there. So I voted for the Green Party candidate in that one too. So
guys, I don't, even amongst Republicans, I don't see a ton of John James support. I don't see a lot of rah-rah for him here in Michigan. I feel like a lot of Republicans aren't even crazy about him. They don't hate him. I don't think I don't think the Republicans hate him.
He seems like a nice dude. I'm just, what you really need out of a Republican candidate in Michigan to take a Senate seat is you need the party faithful within the state to be willing to crawl on hands and knees through broken glass for the guy, and that's just not there.
Yeah.
And he already ran against Debbie Stabenow last cycle. So.
Hey, he was up until Wayne County reported too. So he was up until Wayne County, and then again, Democrats always run up the score in Wayne County. So.
Yeah. So would I be shocked if John James ended up winning? Not totally shocked, but it would be slightly surprising if he ended up winning. Like I said, I think Gary Peters is going to take it.
Yeah, I'm predicting Gary Peters with relative ease in this one. And like I said, yeah, I know it goes against what I said earlier, but I see Gary Peters taking it in Michigan, even if Trump takes Michigan, which I have Michigan going to Biden. Anyway,
okay. We got you both here. So using
predictions.
New York Times' forecasted metrics, they have Trump at a 95 for Florida. Trump now has taken the lead in North Carolina. It was 66% Biden until about 2 minutes ago, and now it's 56% Trump. However, in the real actual reported vote totals, Biden is currently up 9 there. However, that's the heavily urban areas have reported. The rural counties where Trump would traditionally run it up are not in yet. Georgia is an 85% chance for Trump.
I had North.
Go ahead.
I had North Carolina going towards Trump. I had North Carolina going to Trump.
Does Tom Tillis hold his seat? Does Tom Tillis hold his seat there, or is Cal Cunningham knock him off?
Last I checked, it seemed like Tillis was ahead by quite a bit, but that was early. So
well,
I didn't know where it's at.
The polling was
I guess it's
like a 5 or
possible.
6, a 5 or 6 point edge for Cunningham.
Again, it's. I wouldn't be surprised. That was one of the seats that Democrats were looking to flip. You had that one. You had Nick Sally with Kelly, and then you had Cory Gardner, and then Susan Collins losing up in Maine. So those were the 4 seats that Democrats were really looking to.
Yeah,
because
they're losing Doug Jones in Alabama.
They're losing. Yeah, they're losing
For
Doug
sure.
Jones to Tommy Tuberville. And then
We had a pretty good laugh about that.
That would tie the
Senate.
the balance of power. But then if Biden ends up winning, then obviously Kamala would play as the tiebreaker. So
Yeah,
they need all those seats in order to do it.
Yeah,
so.
she would. Well, honestly, I want your guys' insight here. How does the Senate then elect a majority leader? Would that then be a vote tie broken by Kamala Harris? Or
It would, yeah.
whoever the VP
Yeah,
is?
and,
Okay.
and that's happened in recent years. When George W. Bush was president, there was a 50-50 split at one point, and it actually, it's actually in a lot of ways it's a hindrance for that party in a lot of ways, because back when that was going on, when George W. Bush presided over a 50-50 Senate, it kind of sucked for Dick Cheney because he actually had to do something. He had to hang around the Senate all of it. I mean, really, he had to hang around the Senate all the time. The vice president typically doesn't have to exercise that duty very often. But when that's the case, yes, Kamala Harris will be the tie-breaking vote in that instance, and she'll have to make sure she's hanging around the Senate a lot to cast those votes.
If the Democrats do end up taking the Senate, then Kamala Harris is going to be a pretty busy vice president, considering it's not going to be by much, and they're going to have to, really, really count on those, on those Democratic votes in the upper chamber. So, I agree with you, Josh, that Kamala Harris would be a busier VP than some of these VPs have passed. Mike Pence.
Hey,
for people
way,
out there, if they recall,
there's a race going
Dorf.
in your guys' backyard here. Is Haley Stevens either one of your guys' reps?
Mine.
She's about to go down, man.
Is she? I didn't vote.
Yeah, well, I didn't think you would. But Haley Stevens is the Detroit News is reporting she is down in quite large to Republican Eric Eshari of Birmingham.
There was it was between her, him, and like some libertarian candidate, and I didn't check a box for that one. So.
Yeah, I know, Dorf, you probably won't remember because I know you're like 13 years old, but
dude, I am a real man. I'm almost 30.
Good, that's adorable. But when
it's probably got hair in places where.
Hey, I'm gonna be on. I am finally growing some chest hair.
I see you have that nice cheese stash going on your face too.
Hey, from one stashed individual to another. Thanks,
as
man.
the talking heads were saying at the time.
Sorry,
if for those of you out there who may recall the narrative at the time, George W. Bush presided over a 50-50 Senate when making Dick Cheney the tie-breaking vote until, as he was known at the time, Jumpin' Jim Jeffords left the Republican Party, became an independent, which gave the Senate randomly, not during election time, but gave the Senate to the Democrats after he left the Republican Party. And the narrative at the time was that, although he wouldn't say it, Dick Cheney was probably kind of relieved because he didn't need to be there casting that final vote all the time anymore.
And who would want to? I mean, why would you? I mean, you take the vice presidency, to kind of be that man waiting in the bullpen. You don't want to actually work, right?
No, you don't. You really don't. I mean, and you try to be like, oh, what am I going to do? How am I going to be remembered as vice president? And the president tries to give you some goofy chump job, and then it's like, oh crap! Now I'm a senator, but I'm not a real senator. I just
got to come when votes
be
are
there to vote. I'm not really allowed to talk or anything.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, as we know, that precedent. For those of us who remember our American history, that precedent was set when John Adams, as the first vice president, just decided, because he had nothing to do, that he was just gonna run the Senate. He's just gonna hang around there all the time, and they got so sick of him that they just said, all right, you're the vice president, you get to vote in tiebreakers, but you're not allowed to talk. So the vice president's not allowed to talk on the Senate floor, even though he is the president of the Senate.
So
you gotta be careful with Cheney too. I mean, the guy had a heart issue, so I mean, you don't want.
Here's okay.
Sorry,
so while we got you guys
that's
here,
right. That's remembered by the younger people out there because they've heard Eminem.
So Darren Rovell, sports business reporter, who's tracking just the betting action, so you can bet in European online casinos about this. At Monday morning at 11:30 p.m. or Monday night at 11:30 p.m., odds were 2-1 Biden over Trump. It is a toss-up at 8:15 tonight. It's 53-47. 53-47 Biden.
I mean, we know. I'm not gonna put too much into sports bet or
betting
like that. What Darren Lavelle has to say. So.
Well, he's just reporting on the live odds out of European sportsbook Betfair. So this isn't Darren Ravelle. This is him just transcribing.
I mean, DraftKings had every single state going to Trump except Colorado too. So, I mean, whatever, that's fine.
All right, so early returns out of Michigan. Trump up 18 with only 4% reporting. Likely all the small counties up north where it takes like 5 seconds to tabulate. Georgia
in the rich counties in Oakland County where they have newfangled stuff, and they're still using like I don't know what they still use in Detroit. It's like I think they are still using a pencil and paper in Detroit to tabulate them, or I don't know. I think they're sending it to each other via Morse code.
I think it's still a straw count in Wayne County, in Detroit.
It's not an in-person caucus.
I think everybody kind of reports to the Cass Tech gymnasium and they just raise their hands and.
Or
County. It's still vote. Like a marker, and it's still a marker coloring in a dot where I'm at.
Isn't that usually what it is everywhere?
Hey, ours is
it?
Not us. We have a touchscreen, so you go through a touchscreen.
Ooh.
You select your stuff. It prints out a.
Ooh.
It prints out a ticket about a foot long, with a record of everything you voted for. So that's the hard record of what you voted for, which will stay locked up until they certify the election. So if there's a manual recount, they pull those out and count them by hand. And then
I like it. I mean, that's how you. That's how you start moving towards ranked choice voting.
Ranked choice voting is something I could get behind, because you know what, that would increase the power of third-party candidates, Josh. But so then,
I love ranked choice voting. I don't like computer voting because I know how easy it is to rig.
But so you get
that's what they do in Maine.
So they
for
get
Senate.
You get you get a printout, so it's in plain text. It's not like encrypted or anything. Exactly what your what you voted for. Then you take it over to the counting machine, which then it slides it in, and it's kept secure inside the counting machine for a manual recount, but the electronic machine tabulates it as you go.
No, that's cool. I mean, that's one of the things that this country's gonna have to start doing if they actually want to start doing ranked choice voting is doing shit more like that, as opposed to how it is in most areas. I'm assuming with the like it'd be like taking a meat test or something like that. Yeah.
Hey, Dorf, I know you're busy doing a million things, but I sent you a message.
Where? Oh, I got it.
But Adam, do you think ranked choice voting is something that could be in our future? I'd like to see it, but I don't know that it's actually, being talked about by anyone but us.
I mean, it's happening in Maine. I mean, they do it with their Senate race. I don't know.
Just for the primary, right? Obviously.
No, they do it for the general. I mean, Susan Collins is in a ranked choice election against her opponent, and yeah, they do it for that. So, I mean,
that's just because it's a special election, though, correct? Or am I wrong?
No, I'm pretty sure they do it for all of it. Do I think it's going to happen? Do I think it's going to happen nationwide? No, probably not, because it serves as a bigger threat the Republican and the Democratic parties.
Yeah. The duopoly, as I like to call it.
I mean, you know what? We call it duopoly. I mean, it's not even really a duopoly anymore. It's more of a monopoly.
I like to emphasize the opoly part of the duopoly because it is a monopoly.
I mean, it is.
Per New York,
So
just right now,
I mean,
per New York Times, Biden now only at 29% chance to win North Carolina per New York Times.
Okay. Where were you seeing the Trump taking Florida thing? I'm not seeing that anywhere.
Everywhere at this point.
Okay.
I currently have up Fox, 538, New York Times, and CNN. They all have it in the Trump column.
I mean, as leading, or as called?
Called for Trump. 91% in, +2. The only precincts left reporting are strong red. Left to report is strong red. Yeah. So Trump will probably win by 2.5 to 4, somewhere in there.
Okay, if that be the case, I'm not necessarily calling it for me yet, but if that be the case, then that is now, unseats Illinois as the biggest state call. Florida's 4th biggest state in the union, 29 electoral votes, a prize for sure.
Well, it's the first battleground state they'd be awarded to somebody. Illinois was a battleground state.
Right, absolutely. I'm just trying to pinpoint the biggest electoral states.
Yes.
And here's another thing, buddy. Guys, I know we are all creatures of the internet. Laura Loomer's getting slaughtered in Florida.
Thank God.
She's going to lose by like 25.
Thank God. I know that crazy lady from Georgia won. What the hell was her name?
Oh, the Q lady? QAnon lady?
Yeah, a lady who couldn't shoot a gun, but wanted to make it appear like she could shoot a gun. Everywhere I saw, people were making fun of the way that she was holding the gun and shooting it.
Well, it's like that.
Trigger discipline is important.
The CNN contributor, who was an ex-general, that he did a piece on like the dangerousness of the AR-15, and it's looked like he had never shot before, but he was like a 3-star general when he retired. Yeah, leaning back, shit trigger discipline, just like it's like, dude, it's a 5.56 round. It's not that heavy. Like, calm down. But
Yeah.
New York Times.
Act like you've been there before, bro.
Yeah, no, right. New York Times currently gives Trump a 58% chance of re-election. However, at this time last year, I'd like to remind people it was still pretty heavily predicted by the New York Times that Hillary was going to be elected. So, calm your tits.
Right, yeah. But what if the New York Times is wrong, like they always are?
Fake news.
It's only 8:45, and there's already a 58% chance that Trump is reelected.
Well, based on the way things are trending
and actually,
right now.
people, like to often forget that 58%
Whoa.
of something happening. I mean, would you say, "Hey, jump off this cliff. There's a 58% chance you'll live"?
Detroit News is also reporting that Republican Paul Junge, Junge, I'm not sure how you pronounce that, is leading Rep. Alyssa Slotkin in my old congressional district of the Michigan 8th.
Cool. Good for him.
That's something. That is something. Dorf, do we want to talk about our before the New York Times and cable news calls the election here in the next 90 seconds? Do we want to talk about our predictions before it looks like we just are ripping off the cable news?
I don't know. Adam, I don't know what your time available looks like. We'd love to have you for the rest of the night, but I don't think you want to keep walking around. So, is that a fire alarm or a truck backing up?
Definitely not. No, somebody's doing some construction or something.
Oh, okay.
I have. I mean, I've Biden winning. I haven't taken Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, and then Arizona. That's the path that I have him using the White House. So that's my prediction.
So here's a pipe has burst in Georgia. Now they think they won't finish counting votes for another 2 days per CBS. Not a joke.
A pipe burst?
Yes.
So did it flood a bunch of ballots?
I don't know. That's per CBS.
Only in 2020 when plumbing issues.
Well, there
throw a monkey wrench into the.
I forget where it was, but there was
a monkey wrench into the election.
There was a precinct earlier today that a car crashed into the precinct and like blew out a wall, and they just kept voting in there. But New York Times now.
America, work that franchise right.
Re-election, 60% chance Trump wins Florida, Georgia, North Carolina. All of it. Anywho, all right. Well, I'll tell you what, Adam, you got anything else, buddy? Before we, I think we're gonna get back to our originally scheduled programming. You got anything else you want to say before you go?
I don't think so.
Okay. Miss you, buddy. Glad you could join us.
Hey, Adam, it was great to hear your voice over the airwaves again. It was awesome to cast the pods with you, brother.
Yeah. Have a good night, you guys.
All right. See you later.
You too, man.
See ya.
The man, the myth, the legend, Adam Hernandez. On the other side of that, it sounds like we got a couple other guests, possibly.
Well,
lined up,
we need to
but we'll get to that. Yeah, we'll get to some of our, as Dorf put it, our regularly scheduled program.
Yeah.
So what's up, Dorf? Who's winning tonight, man?
Hang on, I got some technical producing to do first before we.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll tell you who's winning then.
Go ahead.
In the meantime, while you, cast the technical pods. I actually, when I put mine together, said who was going to win where, all the good stuff. I actually came up with a 269 to 269 tie.
Yes, you did.
Now, this is not Josh predicting a tie tonight. Because I, of course, am not claiming that I'm going to get every single state right in every single thing. But when I added it up, sure enough, I did come up with the 269. So I think it's going to be very close.
So I do have your map on the screen right now, by the way.
Okay, good. And and there was some that I called that were a little strange, but this is a strange year and it's a strange election. That is for sure. That's something that's never happened. The election has gone to the House of Representatives. I mean, a lot of people know their history, but the presidential race has gone to the House of Representatives per the Constitution in the past. Hasn't happened in almost 150 years, over 140 years. But it's never gone because of that. It's never gone to the House because they actually only two people are running, and they actually got the exact tie and split the difference. That has never actually happened. Which you would think that because of that, because we are run by a duopoly at this point, you would think that maybe they would set up the electoral votes to maybe be an odd number. So it wouldn't happen. I don't know. Maybe they want it to happen. The world may never know. Or maybe they just don't think about it because it never has happened in its infancy. But 1877 was the last time that anything had to go to the House. But basically, that would be the purest way under our current system for it to go to the House. Would just simply have a 269 to 269 tie. The system is set up with the idea that maybe there would actually, I know this is going to be crazy to modern day Americans, but that, there actually might be more than 2 people running, and that maybe more than 2 people will get electoral votes, and that this will prevent somebody from getting the majority of electoral votes, because you must have the majority of electoral votes, not just the plurality. You do not have to have the majority of the popular vote, but you do have to have a majority of the electoral vote. Which that, of course, is 270 in modern times. But yeah, I did when I worked mine out. It was 269 to 269. Not many states are in. Not any crazy states are in. I haven't been wrong on any of the states so far that have come in, but that's not tooting my own horn. Most people haven't been wrong with the states that have come in thus far. We haven't had any big surprises yet, that's for sure. Dorf, you want to go over some of yours, or not
sure.
Quite yet?
Well, I mean, if you want, your map's on the screen. If you want to go over it at all.
Okay, yeah, no, for sure. I mean, some of the strange ones that I had. I'm trying to bring my stuff back up here. Some of the strange ones I had, some of the, I don't know if you even want to call them upsets. I had Iowa going to Biden, which I was going to be viewed as a toss-up, but it's not a crazy upset. I chose this strictly from the idea that Iowa is a place I kind of view it as my second home away from home. I know a lot of people in Iowa. I've spent a lot of time in Iowa. I know how conservative Iowa is, but I see a lot of my regularly conservative friends in Iowa not being crazy about Trump, not being crazy about what's going on, which to me was kind of surprising. And I'm taking a small sample size here, granted, but I feel that Biden's got a push in Iowa. I really do. I think that people in Iowa, I think, are maybe conservative more in the dictionary definition of the word than the political definition of that word. Mm-hmm. And I think maybe Joe Biden kind of goes along with that a little bit more. In some ways you could... like I said, if you're using the dictionary definition, perhaps Joe Biden is more conservative than Donald Trump. Donald Trump, Joe Biden's not obnoxious on Twitter. It is I guess what I'm getting at. So I feel like Iowa is a state that Biden could definitely take. But we'll see. On the other hand, New Mexico, I picked going to Trump. Arizona is another one that's kind of being viewed as a swing state. I think Trump's definitely going to take Arizona, but we shall see.
Breaking news,
these are
Captain America. Dan Crenshaw of the Texas Second has announced he's won. So
okay,
Captain America, Captain Eye Patch, remains as a member of the U.S. House of Representatives. The future of the neocon wing of the Republican Party is safe.
For now. Maybe forever. Yeah, he's a popular guy. I'm not surprised by that.
He's hard to hate. He's really hard to dislike. Let's put it that way. He's a disabled combat veteran, Navy SEAL, good looking. He's got the cool factor because he's got an eye patch.
I wish I could be that good looking with an eye patch.
Very eloquent speaker, Ivy educated, but totally comes off as a normie. You got something there.
Crenshaw's better looking than me, and I have twice as many eyes as him. That sucks. That sucks. But what it dems the brakes, right?
Yep.
Sorry, I make myself
So guy I follow on Twitter, it's just a fitness account called @FitFounder. I'm in Canada. I feel like I feel living on top of a meth lab that's about to explode.
What is your electoral count right now
New York
from
Times,
what's being called?
The New York Times is just called Indiana for Trump, so it's 85-72 Biden at this moment. Trump is up 2.5 points in the popular vote. So
72. What am I? I'm doing my count here.
This is what New York Times.
I have 88-73 Biden.
Okay.
Right now.
This is what the New York Times is called. So it is called, no particular order, just kind of running across the screen. For the GOP, that being Oklahoma, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, and South Carolina, it still does not technically have Trump in those totals. For the Democrats, you have Illinois, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Vermont. Michigan is about 11% in. Trump is up 57-40. Ohio is about half in. Biden is up 55-45. Pennsylvania is 13% in. Biden is up 68-31. North Carolina is 72% in. It is Biden 51 or 52, Trump 47. However, New York Times still projects that state going to Trump. Georgia is 29% in. It's 56-42 Trump. Florida is 91% in. It's 51-48 Trump. Texas is 64% in. It's 50-49 Biden. However, that's still projected to go red at this point. Maine is
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Maine is 2% in at 51-46 Trump. New Hampshire is 13% in at 53-46 Biden.
Maine is a state I had going to Biden.
Kansas is 36% in. It is 53-46 Biden. Missouri is 10% in. It's 64-35 Biden. North Dakota is 7% in. It's 54-43 Trump. And that's what I've got so far. This is all numbers from the New York Times' live dashboard.
Now, a lot of people know this, but it's worth saying if not everyone does. In a state like Michigan, those numbers, I believe you said Trump was up, he had 57%. Those numbers are very telling and they're not very good for Trump. Typically, this is absolutely true in Michigan, maybe more true in Michigan than anywhere else, but it's true of a lot of states that have rural areas but have one big city, one big famous city. A lot of people throughout the country, if you asked them to name one city in Michigan, obviously they're going to say Detroit. If you ask them to name a second, they may or may not be able to come up with one. If you live on the other side of the country. Big cities tend to go Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
So those big cities tend to come in last. So when you have those numbers rolling in, Trump's at 57%. They're not counting Detroit yet at all.
Oh, Wayne County is going to
go.
Wayne County is always last.
Wayne County is going to go heavily Detroit, but Wayne County is going to go heavily Biden, but the city of Detroit is going to go extremely heavily Biden, 80 to 90% Biden. So 57%. Trump wants those numbers. If he wants the big swing state of Michigan, 8th biggest state in the union, he wants those numbers around 62, 63. Doesn't mean he lost it yet, but that's where he wants those early numbers to be if he's gonna want to lay claim to that state. Michigan's a state he took in 2016. I'm not saying he needs it as in slam dunk he loses without Michigan. For instance, I had the I had it being an electoral tie with Michigan going to Biden. So it's not a state that is 100% necessary, but it's very important. It's over this weekend here in Michigan, we've seen Trump, we've seen Dr. Biden, we've seen Joe Biden, we've seen Barack Obama, all here in Michigan in the last 36 hours. It's obviously a very important state to all of them. They know it's up for grabs. They know that every vote here counts and is important, which is why it made me smile even more to vote for Joe Jorgensen today, knowing that I live in such an important swing state and that, I decided to swing it away from everyone.
Jesus. Wow, so Cal Cunningham is up in North Carolina over Tom Tillis right now. From Barstool's Hard Factor, Cal Cunningham ahead North Carolina is only further proof that being horny on Maine will only lead to success. Yeah, he had a cheating scandal in the middle of this, so...
It's 2020, man. Does that matter anymore? I remember. I know I'm so freaking old. I am. I have dinosaur poop on me. I am ancient. But does that? I remember when that mattered. I remember when politicians would get a cheating scandal or caught with a cheating scandal, and it wrecked them. It destroyed them.
It's back when this country had a soul.
Yeah, exactly. I've made many conservatives mad
GOP,
over the last few years.
So it's a brief aside here. GOP has had some early wins in the House. Not necessarily enough to flip the balance, but several seats they were not projected to win, specifically in the Southeast, have gone red so far. So decent early returns for the GOP in the House.
Okay. You think there's any chance the House flips?
No,
I don't either.
I think it'll be closer.
No, I could see. I can see the Republicans picking up some seats. I don't think it flips. I don't think the Senate flips either, though. Mm-hmm. I don't. I think regardless of what happens tonight, I'm actually fairly certain that the Republicans keep the Senate and the Democrats keep the House.
Okay.
I can't tell you I'm certain on the presidential election at all. I really can't. I'm not one of these guys that says I won't make a prediction. I love making predictions. Making predictions is fun.
Specifically, but, the two seats that I'm talking about, or the GOP is flipped in Florida, the Florida 26th and 27th, which is Miami-Dade County, have gone from blue to red.
Very good news for Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
He, as Adam said, he needs Florida, and if House seats are flipping from blue to red, then that is very good news for Donald Trump in the state of Florida. Again, fourth biggest state in the union. 29, right? 29 electoral votes?
Yes, yeah. 29 electoral votes.
29 electoral votes. Only New York, Texas, and California are bigger. And in a lot of ways, it makes Florida the most important state in the union.
More breaking news. Virginia may be back in play. It was called almost immediately by specifically Fox News. Loudoun County, which is just outside, is one of the most populous counties in Virginia, which only voted for Trump at a 39% clip, has been called, well, it's 95% reported, Trump up 55-40. Virginia may be in play here, guys. Front row.
That's crazy. I don't know if I believe it. But yeah, it's... anything's possible. Stranger things have happened. Yeah, I'll be shocked if Donald Trump takes Virginia. And like I said, it has already been called by just about everybody as being one for Trump. But it's worth looking at. Because as we know,
whoa, dude, So I've just refreshed the Fox page here. Michigan is now lean red. North Carolina is lean blue. Ohio is lean blue. Pennsylvania lean blue. Nebraska 4 to 5 red. Texas and Kansas lean blue. Well, that's currently leading. That's the way Fox reports it.
Okay, leading, not leaning.
Correct. Leading. I realize I've had, a bit of whiskey, so I may be slurring my words.
It's gonna be a long night, folks. There's
By the way, your prediction. New York Times is called New Mexico for Joe Biden without any precincts reporting. I don't know that your prediction is coming true there, buddy. And that's currently is what is on the screen is Josh's presidential map. Let me put mine up since you guys haven't seen that yet. This is mine.
Yeah.
So I have just to go over mine here real quick. So so the RCP aggregation, which had Biden winning by 80, I think. This is my difference. I had Florida going red. I had Pennsylvania going red, Arizona going red, and Wisconsin going red. Because I didn't want to do the conditional statement game. I had either Michigan or Arizona going red, not one or the other. So, Josh, you all right? Okay, all right. Here. I think Josh needs the first potty break of the night. So, so let me. I'm going to continue on to myself and talk about it here. So, my map, which you can see on your screen here, is pretty standard. There's some early returns in Arizona that make me happy about my prediction there. I think Nevada may go a different direction. Not that that'll have much of an effect on the overall event. And my former home state my home state of Michigan, while I hope it goes red again, I'm not excited about that possibility. Minnesota is not in the bag. As reported, as currently reporting by New York Times, there's not been polls don't close till 9, so that was 9 p.m. Eastern. They closed 5 minutes ago. No votes have been reported yet to the New York Times. So, other than that, I mean, it's a pretty standard map there. North Carolina's and Ohio are looking less promising than normal. That is my kind of only concern in that regard. So, yikes. Hey, Josh, welcome back.
Hey, thank you. I had to see a man about a horse. Fox News is now calling it 129 to 94 right now, is what they are saying. Thinking it's like local news is calling it somewhat similar.
New York Times has got 119-94 Biden over Trump.
Okay, so they seem to be in agreement on the 94. Anyway.
The Dakotas, Nebraska, all 5 Nebraska and Wyoming have been recently added to the GOP. New Mexico, New York to the Dems.
Okay, so New Mexico, that was one that I was wrong on.
Well, it's not over yet, but
it's not.
New Mexico has been awarded to the New York Times by the New York Times with 0% reporting. So,
okay, I want to keep being clear about, because I don't want to sound like a total goofball with my tie prediction, because of that, if I am wrong about New Mexico, boom. I mean, then my tie thing is off.
Well, okay, so
if I'm wrong about anything, then my tie thing is mostly off.
I've got RCP's map up here. They have it 122 Biden-Harris, 101 Pence-Trump. They have Wyoming, the Dakotas, Nebraska, Missouri, Oklahoma, Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, and South Carolina in the red column. They have New Mexico, Maryland, Virginia, in the north, Illinois in the northeast in the in the Democrat column. So Any more scuttlebutt here?
Did we mention Wyoming? Wyoming, only 3 electoral votes, but that's
It's never not going red.
no, it wasn't. But I think I'm just trying to make official calls here. Wyoming definitely going Trump from what it looks like.
Looks like John Cornyn has been reelected to the United States Senate from Texas as well.
Okay.
He was.
You ever been to Wyoming, Dorf?
I have not. However,
very distinct smell. I feel like I just know the smell of Wyoming.
Okay, explain.
Not good.
Like cow shit? Because there's more cow
Yeah,
shit.
I don't know, man. I don't know. And I didn't spend that much time in there. The people there were very lovely. It had a distinct smell that I didn't care for. In Wyoming, I can't quite describe it. It just kind of smells like, I don't know what crystal meth smells like, but I feel like that's what crystal meth smells like.
Have you ever? I forget what state it was. There was some state. I think it might have been one of the Dakotas, if I remember correctly. Did a, hang on, I'm gonna switch the camera. What we're displaying here when we talk. One of the Dakotas, I believe, did a advertising campaign, like to promote tourism. It was like, meth, we're on it.
Yes, I do recall this. I do recall this.
I'm gonna look up the state which that was real quick.
No, I drove across the country year and a half ago, and
I remember that. Believe it or not, we were both out of town and we were in the same city at the same time.
We were, and we didn't realize it. But I drove across the country, and it is North Dakota. Okay, I stopped in Wyoming.
South Dakota. My bad. South Dakota.
South Dakota. I stopped in Wyoming in the grossest motel of all time. I mean, the most disgusting motel. And all I could do, I was thinking, I said a quick prayer, and I was so thankful that I stole the slippers from the really nice motel I stayed in California, because there's no way I wanted to like touch my feet to the ground in this Wyoming motel. And this isn't me. California's not usually like my scene. I'm kind of more of a Wyoming kind of guy, but
QAnon officially has their representative in Congress. Marjorie Taylor Greene of Georgia has won her race.
Okay, can we talk about QAnon just for a second?
Go ahead.
If Trump loses today, maybe they'll say, "Oh, but he won't lose." But if Trump loses today, do all the QAnon people, does it just disappear? Do they just start pretending like, "Oh no, we never said that stuff"?
Oh,
because QAnon says some fascinating things.
Riotous. By the way, I'm going to briefly interrupt. Riotous violence breaking out in D.C. as both stripes are clashing. As reported by Brendan Gutenschwager at BG on the scene, he is an independent on the ground, essentially riot reporter, based out of Michigan. Believe it or not, I believe he's from the west side of the state. He is live reporting outside. That looks like the Treasury Department. Punches have been thrown in exchange between some black folk and some look like normie Republicans. Just based on me watching a video without any sound. That's what it looks like.
Dorf, I've been pleasantly surprised with how much reporting we've been able to do thus far, because I wasn't sure. I really wasn't sure. There was a point, we discussed this off air, where we said beforehand, I said my biggest fear about tonight, and if it happens, it happens. It's not the end of the world, but I was just scared that we weren't going to have anything to say, because the numbers weren't going to be coming in. We wouldn't have anything to say. We wouldn't have anything to predict. But I am kind of curious. Does the Civil War start tonight, or does the Civil War start like this weekend? I'd like to plan out my fall, I am kind of curious, like when, is this happening? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you.
Trump is currently winning the city of Flint.
Yikes! How does that happen?
32.
Hmm.
Wow.
I don't. I'll be honest. I don't have any proper analysis on that. You know, I maybe I should. I don't live that far from Flint. I'm surprised by it. I guess I don't. I want to say something about the much like I said about Wayne County and the state of Michigan as a whole, that perhaps the poorer counties are coming in later, poorer parts of it are coming in later, but that doesn't really work when you're just talking about one city. Flint is Flint.
By the way, Fox has just announced they're considering recalling their 7 p.m. call of Virginia for Biden.
Wow. Okay, still on. All right.
So Virginia.
You've been talking about that.
Fox, Virginia is potentially back on the board. That's kind of what I was seeing there myself. Trump is up currently in the tabulated votes by 300,000 in the state.
Dorf, are we ready for a quick call from another contributor?
Yeah, if is it Ed, I believe?
It is.
All right, tell him to call.
It is.
Tell him to call, and we're ready to go.
Okay. I need that number.
Oh, it's you
So I can.
You just got to send him the link, and he's got to do it himself. I haven't figured out how to add him myself.
Okay. Word.
All right. Well, anyway, I will continue on this. I'll continue reporting.
He's listening, so he heard that. So
Ed. Assuming you have a Google-enabled device, either a computer or phone, use Duo. Click on that link that you can actually just use your telephone for that too, and you can actually dial this from your cell phone. If you don't want to be on video, you can actually do it as an over-the-air call. So New York Times.
He's a smart dude, so
Yeah,
I bet he'll probably figure it out from that.
He'll figure it out. I know that. I'm confident in Ed. So his current forecasted percent chances, Florida is still at 95% or greater for Trump. North Carolina is now an 88% Trump, despite Biden being up 3 points in the state with 78% reporting. They still have an 88% chance that it goes Trump. Georgia is an 81% chance Trump up 16. Michigan.
Dorf, can you still hear me? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Okay. My phone needed some juice. I needed to switch some mic stuff around, but just wanted to make sure.
Okay, no problem. Looks like Cory Gardner will lose the Senate seat in Georgia as well. John Hickenlooper likely to prevail there. As expected, that's not out of the ordinary. Not unexpected there.
No, it's not. It's not at all. Cory Gardner, he really gave it the college try too. Over these last few weeks, I've heard him on every conservative talk show host you've ever heard of has had Cory Gardner on, trying to push this thing, trying to sell the narrative of Hickenlooper being a unpopular governor. And
he was a pretty pragmatic moderate, and he made everybody happy by being the governor in power when weed was legalized.
Yeah,
weed legal. Sorry, I'm quoting a YouTuber I watch, who will remain unnamed. He always joked about the one issue voters for weed was lead weagle, and that was all they cared about. Apparently, so this is reported by Josh Krashauer of the National Journal. It's a blog based out of DC. Quite a few House races that were supposed to go Dem or have not gone their way so far, that being the Texas 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, the Florida 26th and 27th. So potentially 5 pickups there by the GOP in the House. They would need to pick up probably 25 or 30 seats, if I remember correctly, to flip the majority back to have, God, who would be the majority leader again? God, it would be Kevin McCarthy, wouldn't it? He's so boring.
Yeah.
But, it'd likely be McCarthy. McCarthy is the ranking member right now. Trump has taken a slight lead, a 1,000-ish vote lead on Biden in Texas. Fox News is now projecting that the Democrats will hold the House with a smaller margin. That being reported by Human Events, a conservative e-magazine. My Twitter account is partial. It's a lot of sports, a lot of politics, and baseball's doing their postseason awards right now. So I got to do a lot of scrolling because that's being announced right now. Trump just took the lead in Texas, 66% of the precincts reporting. The rural counties, which traditionally are strong red, have yet to report. So Trump win there handily. Although New York Times doesn't even list Texas as a battleground, which is fucking funny to me. But I would project at this point myself, Texas stays red. Minnesota,
I think so too.
Fox News, up in Minnesota,
Really?
down in Wisconsin, up in Michigan, down in Pennsylvania. Still have him down in Texas, even though I believe he just took a lead. Could be the last, depending on when that was refreshed.
None of this matters if Biden wins Texas, which he's not going to. But if Biden wins Texas, none of this matters. I mean, Texas. Trump cannot possibly win the election without Texas's 38 electoral votes. Second biggest state in the union. It's not a thing. It's not a thing.
Okay. So Josh,
but again, I don't think that's going to happen. Just it's, the idea that state is in play, I guess, is huge news. But in a way, it's news that's so huge that we can stop talking if if Biden could take Texas. I mean, that's bad news bears for Orange Man. That he's done.
yeah.
But again, I really don't think that's the case. I don't see an electoral path for Donald Trump with losing Texas. I know people try to say Texas is a single state now. I don't buy it.
I misreported Fox's report. Dems to hold House and expand majority by approximately 5 seats.
Wait, say that again, Dorf. I'm sorry.
Fox is reporting Dems to hold House and majority by 5 seats.
Oh, okay.
In live betting per Zero Hedge, which I don't know if you're familiar with Zero Hedge, a very woke conservative financial market blog, very much keeps track of political betting and from like a Wall Street perspective. Trump now huge favorite in online live betting.
Okay.
Wow.
Is Trump a huge favorite in online betting the way the Yankees are always a huge favorite in betting just because they know Yankees fans love to bet? They know that if somebody's going to bet, they're going to bet on Trump. So
Georgia won, likely to. Trump is now favored. CNN is also walking back their call of Virginia. Let's see. I'll tell you what, buddy. I know you've got some stuff up here. I need to take a quick break.
Yeah. Sure.
I'm going to change the camera here real quick and just keep talking, okay?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I actually wanted to kind of go over some things. I don't know that this is possible to happen or not. But like I said, just by the quick maths I ran this morning, I was technically predicting a tie, an electoral tie, which would send it to the House of Representatives, and wanted to kind of maybe give a quick little history on some of that. The when is the last time this happened? We have seen in recent times people win the Electoral College without winning the popular vote. But no one alive today has seen the Electoral College fail in its first run, causing the election to go to the House of Representatives as laid out by the Constitution. Last time that happened was in 1877, but that wasn't the first time it happened. It has happened in the past. There has been a lot of times people like to think that the only time there's ever been constitutional strife is right here in modern days, in the 2000s. But right off the bat, this was an issue in 1796 when, in the Adams versus Jefferson. And again in 1800, Jefferson versus Aaron Burr, who's much more famous for shooting Alexander Hamilton than he is for being vice president of the United States and for being a presidential candidate in the 1700s. But all those things did happen. And they had to basically restructure, not through constitutional means, but through congressional means. They had to restructure how they do this. This again happened in, where at that point people were voting for both, for president and vice president, the Electoral College.
Josh, I've got some breaking news. Madison Cawthorn, the 24-year-old wheelchair-bound Republican, wins North Carolina's 11th, taking down the Democrat incumbent there. That was not expected to happen. That's pretty. Wow. That's race has been called by the New York Times. Sorry, continue.
Oh, no. Just my quick history lesson. This has happened 2 other times, too. In 1825 with, probably the most famous one in 1825 with Andrew Jackson, John Quincy Adams. This, of course, was when there's 4 people running. You got Andrew Jackson. He's, the very first Democrat. They're not even calling them Democrats yet. He's coming into the fray. John Quincy Adams, the son of John Adams, is running. We have Crawford. We have Henry Clay. William Crawford was a Secretary of Treasury at the time, and Henry Clay is the Speaker of the House. They're, which at that point it's even unsure what the position of Speaker of the House really does, but he is holding that position. And Henry Clay is thinking, okay, I got the House in control, so if I can send this thing to the House, then I'll take control of it. Kind of almost like a push that, some conspiracy theorists have made that, maybe Nancy Pelosi's trying to make some moves like that. But perhaps not. But the problem is the Constitution states that only the top 3 vote getters electorally get to be included in the House votes, leaving Henry Clay on the outside looking in. Henry Clay then shifts his support behind John Quincy Adams. And John Quincy Adams, who did not get as many votes as Andrew Jackson, is able to take the election. This then causes a lot of dispute and a lot of accusations of corruption when John Quincy Adams then becomes president of the United States and makes Henry Clay Secretary of State. A lot of people would say that that's just basic politics, and maybe it's even in some ways the will of the people, that it's forming a union of people that got a lot of votes. But Andrew Jackson sold that to the American people as a terrible example of corruption in government, and ended up winning the popular vote that time, and then winning it 2 more times in a row and becoming president for 8 years. The last time it happened, 1877, Rutherford B. Hayes and Samuel Tilden, a guy who took, we should in history perhaps be talking about a President Samuel Tilden, a name most people don't know, but he actually not only won the popular vote, but actually won the electoral vote in 1877. But that had to be pushed aside when there was disputes over the election. I'm telling this story because I don't know, who knows what this election will hold and whether or not some of these somewhat ancient precedents could be brought back into play. Samuel Tilden, some of his electoral votes were said to not be corrupt, or said to not be valid, and Rutherford B. Hayes was given the presidency along with some concessions to having troops pulled out of the South. Hayes was the Republican and the Northerner, and he, the South was at that point more than willing to negotiate electoral votes to end the what was the remnants of the Civil War at that point. So I don't know. I thought those might be interesting things for people to hear, to mill around in their head with a little bit, maybe do a little bit more research on them if you're not familiar with those, with some of those things that happened, because I just felt like that just popped back into my head yesterday when I was kind of thinking about this, because I just felt like some of those old stories from the 1800s were kind of relevant to what's going on right now.
By the way,
electoral politics. What's up, Dor?
So this is metrics based on 538. Trump takes Florida, Georgia, North Carolina, which he's projected to do. He has like a 65% chance of winning. However, if he doesn't pick up Ohio, it goes down to 1%. Per their metrics at 9 o'clock, so that's a half hour ago, it's 55% chance Trump. If you're a GOP supporter, you better start biting your nails. Yikes.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about how Pennsylvania was the ball game.
Well, Ohio's always extremely important, as anyone that's paid attention to this or has watched either side. The stat they love to tell is how no Republican president has ever won without taking Ohio.
That's true.
It's something they love to say. I feel like that phrase that's thrown around a lot is kind of deceiving. They love to say no Republican president has ever won without Ohio. Truth be told, no Democratic president's ever won without Ohio either. The reason that is because some Democratic presidents won without Ohio before Ohio was a state, because the Democratic Party is older than the Republican Party. So I feel like that's kind of the Republicans need Ohio. No, actually, everybody needs Ohio. Everybody needs Ohio. Fifth biggest state in the union, always a swing state. Been a swing state since its inception. As we know today, we talked about the importance of Florida. Mm-hmm. The importance of Florida going to the Republicans if the Republicans are going to have a shot. And that's because Florida may be the fourth biggest state in the union. But let's look at the big three. We got California, Texas, then New York. And we all know how those are going.
CNN officially walked back their Virginia call.
Really?
Yep. Fox has not. CNN officially has walked it back.
Wow. Okay. Getting cray-cray.
Wow. So
Madison, I really am shocked by that.
Madison Corn, who the 24-year-old kid I was talking about, wheelchair bound, heartthrob. If you're into that, after his race has been called, he just tweeted out, "Cry more lib." Fun, but probably not what you want out of your congressman as his first act. Whoops.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would, in a saner world, I would say, hey, you're a congressman now. Maybe you should act like it. Act like you've been there before.
Yeah.
But I said the same thing to about the president of the United States, about his tweets, and he never stopped. So I don't know what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
So Betfair, the European casino that I was referencing earlier, where it was 53-47, it is officially flipped. Donald Trump is now a favorite to win in live betting.
Okay.
Trump now up to 66% on Betfair. Wow. Yikes. Anyway,
I just tried something, Dorf,
Yeah, go
and
ahead.
I know you don't probably want to hear that from me because you know how awesome I am with tech stuff, right? But I just tried something that might get somebody else in on the call.
Yeah.
And so we'll see. Okay.
Oh, you're trying to add here.
I was, yeah,
Okay,
yeah, and
if it works, that's great. From my perspective, I can't figure out how to add them.
okay, if I just figured it out, then I am so smart. I'm like, I want some mad, screen cred for that. If it works, if it's not, I'll find a way to blame you and Ed.
Looks like
But
so some Texas news. Well, Biden technically
okay,
has
what's up with Texas?
Biden has a small lead. Rural areas, which are GOP strongholds, yet to report. Looks like Texas is in the bag. It is not
In the bag
for the GOP.
Okay.
Lindsey Graham has been announced as the winner. He's keeping his seat in South Carolina, sorry. And ABC is calling South Carolina for Trump officially.
Okay. So what's that putting your electoral count at?
Okay, so New York Times' numbers, it's currently 122.92 Biden. They have called nothing really new. Nothing new since we last talked, ran over it besides South Carolina. So that 122.92 does not include Florida.
Okay.
Trump currently up in Florida by about 320,000 votes with 93% in. The Panhandle being what's left, which is traditionally strong GOP. Georgia is 41% in. It's 57-42 Trump. South Carolina has been called by the Times for Trump. North Carolina with 80% in. Biden is up 50 to 48.5. However, the area is still left. That is about 84,000 votes. The area is still left for heavily red there, so the state is still projected to go to Trump. Virginia has been pulled back. So Donald Trump, and currently reported, Virginia is still on the board, is a blue state by the New York Times. With
Fox News as well.
42% in, Donald Trump is up by 300,000 votes.
Okay. Yeah, Fox News is currently reporting Joe Biden 129, Donald Trump 94, which isn't too far off from what New York Times is reporting.
Yeah,
they were at 122. Where are those two coming from? What is that?
It could be like Nebraska's fifth vote.
Okay.
Although Nebraska.
Yeah. Okay. New York Times may not be calling the full amount. Okay.
Because they're only prescribing the 3 for the statewide there. To Trump, that's probably the difference.
Okay.
Let me click over to some Senate maps here. See if we can. Let's talk.
Yeah, that is the discrepancy.
Okay. Apparently, I have to have a time subscription to look at their Senate stuff, and fuck that noise.
Yeah. Yeah. No thanks.
RCP it is. Oh, never mind. That will have to wait. Is that Mr. Ed there joining us here live tonight? Ed, you there?
It is. How are you alchemists doing?
Not too bad, yourself?
We are excellent, sir. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
I can hear him, Dorf. Can you?
Yes, loud and clear. He's coming across the stream as well.
I think we lost Dorf.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. I got you. Yeah, the one thing, Ed, is depending on how you're doing this, make sure you talk in your mic. Talk in your mic. That's all.
Josh, you're so wrong.
What am I wrong about now?
Trump is Trump. Yeah.
Okay, I think we might have lost Ed here.
Sorry, I'm on a desktop computer with a crappy webcam, so. Hold on.
You sound better now.
You sound. The sound is
better.
fine. You just come in and out of your. You're coming in and out of your sound. We're actually not getting.
So this is the feed. Our esteemed callers call in and tell the world why Josh is wrong. So please, Ed, enlighten us. What is Josh wrong about now?
$2.69 a piece.
Ed, you're coming in and out there, buddy. Can you repeat that?
Oh, I'm not doing videos.
Oh, we know,
So
but
you're not gonna see it.
Your audio's coming in and out. That's all.
Go ahead, Ed.
Oh,
Tell us what's up.
$2.69 a piece. Sitting on the fence there like a centrist. Got the side, bud. Trump is winning it all tonight. Don't believe anything you've heard. Maybe I sound like a QAnon right now, but so Trump is winning it all tonight. He's taking it all. Don't believe anything you've heard. They're all wrong. This is 2016 all over again.
Yeah, Ed. Sorry.
I'm getting him, Dorf. Hopefully the people are.
Well, what's coming? He's roboting.
At home.
He's roboting in and out from our end, the stream's end.
So he's going to win tonight. Tonight he's going to win. But what you're going to see in the next week, you're going to have all these mail-in votes come in, and they're going to try and claim Biden wins a week from now. So Trump needs basically at the end of the night, when he's winning, just claim victory and hold pat.
Well, and quite frankly, I'm not sure how that will hold up.
I don't know.
Dorf, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm just not sure how this will hold up, like electorally, or like in the judiciary rather.
Dorf, did we lose you?
No, I'm here. I can hear you guys loud and clear. Let's see if I can't do something here to help this out.
Yeah, I'm not hearing them.
Dorf, we got you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm hearing both of you. All right.
Dorf? Anybody?
Yep. Hang on, guys.
He's hitting the
All right, so we've got some technical issues here. I'm going to attempt to.
Oh, there you are.
I'm going to attempt to solve them quickly here. Call those guys back. As you can see on. This is the first time we've ever live streamed, and B, ever taken calls. So we're pulling a Bill O'Reilly, and F it, we're doing it live. So there has been a couple hiccups here tonight. So let me get those guys called back here real quick, and let me switch that camera. I'm just gonna throw one of the Senate maps up here because I don't want to. You can see people's phone numbers here, and I don't want to. One moment, guys. Sorry, fellas. Sorry, everybody. Uno momento, por favor.
Guys, I'm back.
Do I have you all back?
I'm here.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds like we have a more stable connection.
That was 100% my fault.
No, it's not it wasn't a stable
Cool.
connection. The service we're using is Google Duo, and it's known for that when you add some third callers in. It happens. We've restarted the call here. Hopefully we can let's start over from the beginning, Ed. Why is Josh wrong?
Because he's a faggot.
Jesus.
Thanks for getting us banned there, bro. This is live. I can't edit it.
269 to 269. I mean, come on, you got to pick a side. You're a centrist fence sitter. You got to. It's Trump. You know Trump's gonna win. You know Trump's gonna win, and they're gonna try and steal it.
Is that? I mean, do I? All right. Well,
okay. So some news out of Ohio. It's within 0.3 points right now. About let's see, that would be 13,000 or 12,500 ish votes in Ohio, with 65% in. That being Donald Trump is trailing Biden by about 13,000 votes, and Ilhan Omar has won re-election in Minnesota.
Well, there's that. Okay, so I mean, Ed, I know you're messing with me, and that's fine. I totally get that, and I appreciate your humor, but I actually was kind of leaning more Trump. To be honest, I do think Trump is going to probably win this thing. At least I did. If anything, I'm backtracking on that now as results are coming in. But I was thinking Trump was going to win, and I, believe it or not, was a little bit surprised myself when I added up my electoral mess and found it to be 269 to 269. So
what's going to happen? I mean, this got cut out before, but Trump is going to win tonight from tonight's vantage point, and over the course of the next week, you're going to have all these mail-in votes show up, and more mail-in votes show up, and the election is going to be contested. It'll be like 2000, but with looting and rioting.
So I feel like this is a good thing to bring up here, and Dorf, please chime in on this too. What do we think is going to go down with this stuff? With I mean, there's, God forbid, but I think a lot of us think there's going to be some bloodshed. There's going to be some stuff's going to go down. So what is going to happen? The Supreme Court is most likely going to get involved. Well, I shouldn't say most likely, but there's a very good chance that the Supreme Court is going to get involved, much like they did in the year 2000. Do we think, are they going to set parameters? Are we going to have are we going to have a definitive president come inauguration day? Because if you guys recall, and I know I'm older than both of you, we've mentioned that plenty tonight, but I know that in 2000 the Supreme Court, agree with what they did, disagree with what they did, doesn't really matter. A lot of what they did, a lot of the actions they took were to ensure that we would know who the president was, right or wrong, by inauguration day. Do you guys think that's going to go down again, or do you think something different's going to happen?
By inauguration day, yeah, but this is going to be drawn out for a couple months, though. I think. I mean, the Democrats have already said as much, that they're not going to accept him, and they're going to hold this up in court and do whatever they can.
Hey, breaking news here, guys. New Jersey becomes the 12th state in the union to legalize recreational weed. other big drug issue on the vote tonight. Oregon has a ballot referendum to legalize magic mushrooms.
Oh, that's a great.
That's cool, I guess. If they're into
I don't
that.
know if it matters to either of you, but there you go. You can now smoke weed in New Jersey recreationally.
Honestly, I when you said 12th state, I actually thought it was more than that already, to be honest with you. But I was obviously wrong about that.
Well, that's recreational only. That doesn't include.
Okay, so not just medicinal. You can just you don't have to have a reason.
That's not weed. That's not weed. Period. That's just recreation. No excuse.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like that is the direction they're going.
Breaking news! Fox has now officially retracted their call of Virginia. They called that at 7:00.
This is, like I said earlier in the cast, guys. I feel like a lot of these news stations are going back to their old dirty habits of calling states that they have no business calling, and it's not good. It's not good for the nation for them to be doing that.
When did they ever stop that? I don't think they're really going back to it. I think it's just to continue.
No, they did though. They genuinely did to some degree stop that. At least get better about it after 2000, 2004, 2008, 2012. I think they definitely got a little better. I think their reasoning was shame, not I don't think they were doing it for the right reasons. I think they were embarrassed and shamed by what they had done in 2000, and but they're right back to it, and I feel like we all knew they would be. They're calling stuff off of what they view as good assumptions, and in an election this close, I don't know that there are any good assumptions. We all have predictions. We had Adam on earlier. He had great. He had a good electoral map. He's got a lot of knowledge about it, but they're just predictions. My map, Ed's making fun of me for being 269. Dorf made some very good predictions as well, but they're just predictions.
Oh, by the way,
they're just predictions, nothing more.
More breaking news. Looks like Tom Tillis will hold on to his Senate seat in North Carolina.
To be expected, and again, that's good news for Trump, because was North Carolina already called?
It's
not. Not really.
It's not called.
But that's very good news for him.
Yeah, the current. So this is New York Times numbers. 82% reporting Donald Trump is actually down 48.7 to 50.1, with 82% in. But the Republican strongholds are the only thing that are left.
Okay.
Ohio is a statistical dead heat with about 65% in.
So I got a question for you guys, because this kind of came up earlier when the wheelchair guy won. You guys were talking about that, and the first thing he said, why is it that people complain when somebody doesn't act like a politician, when all we've seen from politicians is just complete BS? Like, I mean, the people who act like politicians go to war and do things that screw over their country, and you finally get somebody who doesn't act like that, and you complain about it like a woman.
Well, Ed, I think that's a good point. I do. I think that's a very good point, where we it is very true that we all like to hate on politicians. We all like to say that we're sick of politicians, and we can't stand politicians. And then as soon as we elect someone who isn't a politician to a political spot, we get mad when they don't act like a politician.
Yeah,
I think that is a good point. I think I'm not against the idea completely.
Trump's starting to pull away with Texas, by the way.
As to be expected. It's
Trump. By the way, okay. So this is now. I'm going to interrupt. Sorry, Josh. Just refresh the.
No, go ahead.
Refresh the Fox numbers. Trump is up in Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio. They just called South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. Down in Pennsylvania.
I am my Fox
your New
thing is
Mexico-
listing as 129,100,
Correct.
and I'm losing
129 to
my
109. By the way.
CNN feed here.
Okay.
Yep. I just got that refresh as well. 129 to 109 is what Fox is reporting. I had CNN up here, and they are they're failing on me. I'm sorry. I don't have that one. I don't have that one. I did, but it just kind of
So
thawed out on me.
Ed, question for you, buddy. Did you make a map at all or anything like that? Did you do any predictions? What was your pregame Electoral College pick, points wise?
I didn't, but mine was fairly similar to yours.
Okay.
When you had it up briefly earlier. So I think he's probably going to be somewhere in the 290s to 300.
Okay. Just for reference, last time he was what, 322 if I remember correctly.
306.
That was 322. But either way,
over 300 for sure.
Yeah, over 300. Yep.
The number 306 stuck in my head for some reason that doesn't mean anything. It does, that just might be how it is. Oh, okay. You know what? All right. I'm running into the same problem you were running into a little while ago, Dorf, on they don't want to give me any more free streaming on some of these sites I was on. So
sorry, buddy.
It's all good.
Just a quick update on the governor's races. Currently, number of governors, no seats have flipped so far. My home state, or now my new home state here of Indiana, looking like a extremely solid Eric Holcomb win. He currently has about 59% of the vote. To his opponent Woody Myers, the Democrat, is at like 28.5. That is with 60% in. So looks like he's going to hold that. The only races that have been called so far are all holds. Holds by the incumbent. The only one going to a Democrat so far is Delaware. The net gains, so in the House of Representatives so far tonight, out of the races that have been called per RCP, the Democrats are up. They have gained a seat. They have net seat gain in the U.S. House, and they're up one seat in the Senate as well, that being Cory Gardner and John Hickenlooper.
Okay.
By the way, as the odds of Trump winning have increased, the won is tanking compared to the dollar in overnight currency trading.
Everything's connected. Everything is connected. I know this, we're off the subject now, or somewhat off the subject, but just so we to give a little more insight into it, CNN is, ironically enough, being a little more conservative, if you will, than Fox News right now. They are saying 89-72 is all they are calling. Okay. For Biden 89, Trump 72, where Fox News is claiming 129 to 109. Again, ironically, New York Times is a little closer to Fox News with their calling. And again, they have Donald Trump, with 32 million votes thus far. Joe Biden with 31 million votes. Both of them clicking up like crazy. Actually, Trump now at 33.1, Biden at 31.7. But I don't know how much any of that really, how much that matters. But
the popular vote doesn't matter. Who do you have winning the popular vote?
I think Joe Biden's going to win the popular vote,
but not by much.
But maybe not by much. As a disenchanted patriot that I am, there's a part of me that would really just love to see whoever wins this election win the popular vote. As you know, as I've stated here, I voted for Joe Jorgensen today. I don't really have a horse in this race. I'm just trying to present it as is. But for the sake of the future of the Republic, I would really love to see whoever wins it win the popular vote, because I think the Electoral College is one of the most important things that the Constitution has given us. Without it, I feel that the Republic will crumble, and we're gonna have it questioned more and more and more and more and more if it keeps happening. You know, I mean, if it keeps happening where the popular vote is going to the guy that doesn't win the Electoral College, then more and more people are going to question this.
More breaking news: Donald Trump now up by about 105,000 votes in Ohio. I'm trying to get a percentage on that. Hang on. Sorry, guys.
They're at they have about 13 million people in Ohio, I believe.
That sounds about right. New York Times hasn't updated their numbers in forever. Let me try and find a more current.
That was not a stat I just threw out, not a fact, by the way. That was an educated guess based on past memories. I don't, please don't say, Josh was wrong. They have more than that or less than that. I believe that's about where they're at.
That's 75% reporting Trump up 50.7 to 47.9. That is a lead of about 125,000 votes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Ohio, as we've stated, very important. Fifth biggest state in the union.
Trump has a just under 5,000 vote lead in Pennsylvania with 25% in. Donald Trump has about 200,000 vote lead in Texas with 68% in. Donald Trump has a big data dump here in Wisconsin. Hang on, let's let that retabulate. Donald Trump with 35% in Wisconsin is up 50.7 to 47.8. That's a lead of about 33,000 votes. Trump is still technically trailing by 9,000 votes in North Carolina with 87% reporting. That is rapidly closing. It's going to be a close win, but a win nonetheless. Minnesota does not look promising early.
They're saying
Trump.
They are calling that a win for Trump, though, right now, North Carolina. 15 electoral votes there. That's a big state.
They have
a decent sized state.
This is Fox's numbers. They have not put that one in the bag yet.
Okay.
Michigan, not including any mail-in votes. In Michigan, they do not count those until probably tomorrow. Trump currently up 55-42. That by a lead of about 205,000 votes. That's with 31% in.
The state of Michigan said that they probably won't be done counting till Friday. I'm hoping that that's them. Being
conservative. Ed, Ed, you're also a Michigander. What's your gut tell you here?
I think he's taking Michigan.
Okay, by how much? How's it going to happen? Spin us the tale here. What's going on?
Well, I mean, this is assuming a bunch of magical votes don't show up. I think he'll take Michigan, and I think by the end of tonight it'll be by a pretty big margin. But you'll see that disappear during the week.
Okay. The magic of Florida.
Ed, you've a couple times tonight you've mentioned kind of hinted at the idea of foul play or things happening. I know you're saying that you think Trump is going to win this thing, or that he deserves to win it, or that he will win it, but do you think he'll win it? Do you think that you're mentioning foul play? Do you think the foul play will win out? And who's let's push it, May 1st of next year, who's president of the United States?
So I guess let me start by saying I think I don't think we really can know for sure. I mean, the media is so absolutely dishonest with everything going on, I don't think anybody will actually know. I think he probably is going to win. Like if you just said, what's my gut check on whether he actually legitimately won or not, I would say, yes, he probably is. But you won't see it in the mainstream media, but there's been a new, basically fraud related story on voting basically every day for the past couple of months. Finding
It's not even just a single story, Ed. I'll backpack on that there. It's multiple.
Yeah, there's a ton. It's like everywhere. Was it like Utah? It was like 1% of them were found to. I mean, that 1% is a huge number. I mean, maybe it seems like a small one, but when you're talking about very close races, that's big. And that's, I mean, obviously I'm biased in this regard, but there's a reason why they pushed for the mail-in voting, because it is far easier to commit fraud that way.
Well, and I've heard statements about voter turnout being up 300%, or huge numbers. I just that's a bigger than that it's voter turnouts up 70%. Just huge numbers like that. And what I'm questioning is, I don't buy that. I don't think a whole lot more people are voting. And I feel like when they're throwing out numbers like that voter turnout is up so much more, I feel like that there's fraud, that there is potentially fraud. I'm not claiming that it's going one way or the other. I'm just claiming that there's fraud. And I am totally with you on that. I don't know if I can believe the results at all. I don't know if we could ever believe the results. I don't know if we can believe the results from 2016 or, I don't know if and when they started playing games with these numbers. I really have no idea. So my question is,
looks like Kansas.
I mean, aside from all that, who's president? May 1st of 2021.
Hey,
who's sitting at president of the United States?
Let me quick cut in here.
Sure, jump in, Dorf.
Kansas has gone red.
Okay.
So, who's president next year after? You're saying in what, May, a few months in? That completely depends, I think, probably on how Trump handles this, and that's part of why I think he needs to declare victory tonight, even though they've already said, we're not. All the news stations have said, we're going to censor that or say that you can't actually do that, because no matter what happens, they're going to try and take it from him, and you can't know for sure either way. So for his sake, at the very least, he needs to fight it, just because he's going to end up in jail or dead if he doesn't win this thing. But in reality, I think that probably most people, the majority, actually voted for him, and that's probably the way that it's going to go. But like I said, it depends on how he handles it. I don't think he's gonna lay over, but I think at this point it looks like he's gonna fight it tooth and nail, which he should, because if you were in his position, I mean, would you trust the results of the election?
No, I probably wouldn't. I'm gonna quote something from a guy that I usually don't disagree with. I would call him a partisan. Dorf would call him a boomer. But I was listening to Hugh Hewitt last week.
Mega boomer.
Yeah, mega boomer. Okay. But he said something I agreed with. He said, somebody on his show, and a lot of times he's the guy that is so willing to write off any alternative idea as, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a loon, you're a wacko. But somebody had said something about voter fraud and voter fraud or, fixing the election. And he made a point that I thought was like, oh, maybe there's something to it. He said, hey, as I've always said, you can only rig it if it's close. And I think there's some truth to that statement, actually. Again, not a guy that I normally endorse every viewpoint he has, but I agree with that to some degree. You can only, you can't rig it if you know that everybody's voting one way, because you talk to people. Everybody talks to people,
That's anecdotal evidence when you talk to people. I can walk through my neighborhood and see plenty of signs either way. I live in a middle class suburb that could go either way. But I would rephrase that as, you can only essentially steal it if people think it's close. I think that's what they're doing. There is absolutely no way Biden is winning. This old man with dementia, you think people are actually voting for him? There's people voting for him only because they think other people are voting for him, because all the polls are rigged.
Because Orange Man bad.
Yeah, no, exactly. A Trump derangement syndrome. If you had an honest media, Trump would win this in the biggest landslide in history. I mean, I don't know that you can really.
Well, I don't think he's not going to do like a Reagan or a Nixonian type sweep. I mean, that's just, you know, with the partisanship, specifically like in California, that's just not going to happen. But it could be close.
But I mean, he would easily win the popular vote, and it would not even be close whatsoever if you had an honest media that basically just wasn't obviously pushing Biden. And so you have all these polls who've been showing him winning by far more than he's been winning. And then what did they do? You know, as they're sort of inching closer, it looks like Trump's probably going to win. And they know this, because they know their fact gathering is basically fraudulent. The last couple of days, you see all these stories coming out where they're kind of rolling it back and saying, well, Trump could still win. It's not in the bag yet, when they've been saying Biden's got it in the bag all along. And like you've noted, there's record voter turnout, and there's record mail-in voting in some states before the election day even comes around, and you can turn that easily into a bunch of extra votes and have it go the way you want it to go.
Dorf, will you throw out a quick answer real quick to that question I'd asked? You know, the question I asked Ed. Aside from everything else, May 1st, 2021, who is president of the United States?
Based on what I see right now, Donald J. Trump.
Okay. Because I wanted to get that, you know, on record, but when it comes to the idea of potential fraud or something, I mean, I'm looking at this, and I'm not saying that people are largely dishonest about it, but did you guys get mail-in stuff in the mail? You know, did you guys get ballots in the mail where you're at?
Nope, didn't ask for them. Didn't want to. Was always going to vote in person.
I never asked for them either, and I've never done anything but vote in person. And unpopular opinion, I don't believe your vote should count if you don't vote in person. I think everyone should have to vote in person. Ed, did you get that stuff in the mail?
Sorry, Ed. Go ahead.
I got plenty of things telling me I should vote in the mail, but I did not get anything in the mail. I voted in person, as I planned to all along.
I voted in person, as I planned to all along, but I got 3 in the mail.
Actually, 3 ballots?
Yeah. I got 3 in the mail.
For
Never
yourself?
requested them ever.
For yourself or other people?
So
myself, I guess. I've never had more. I've always had one person over 18 in my household. I got 3. I got 3. I joke. I got 2 teenagers. I joke with them. I said, "Hey, you guys want to try to fill them out? Go ahead." Yeah.
Have you seen the Project Veritas, where they basically uncovered that whole scheme in Minnesota? I mean, they would basically go around and collect all the mail-in ballots, and
in Texas too. They would in Texas too. They would do the same thing in exchange for gifts, particularly picking on Latino senior citizens.
Mm-hmm. I have no idea if those ballots would have worked if I sent them in. I, of course, did not. You know, I didn't send them in. I threw them in the garbage. But I have no idea. I like to believe that they wouldn't have. That the due diligence would have been done, and that they would have not allowed them if I had done the wrong thing and sent them in and tripled Joe Jorgensen's votes. In my area,
there has always been voter fraud. You can look at Heritage Foundation actually has on their site a list of all the people who have basically been convicted of voter fraud. Mm-hmm. A gigantic database, and there's a ton. Voter fraud happens constantly. When you hear the media saying that, you know, there's no worries with mail-in voting, well, one of the things you do with mail-in voting is it's a matter of scale. You're scaling it up massively in a way that we haven't done before, and you're just leaving it open. And it would be ridiculous to think that
the thing that I find ridiculous is the idea that Donald Trump, Joe Biden. I mean, talk about, boomer-tastic. That the Donald Trump, Joe Biden election of 2020 would have record high voter turnout. I don't buy it. I don't buy it. And when they tell me that voter turnout is through the roof and they throw out ridiculous numbers, like I was saying earlier, I don't buy it. And if anything, what generally I think is being suppressed by fraud and by voter, by the way they count the votes, I think third-party votes are being suppressed by that, honestly.
Breaking news here, guys. The old ball coach, Tommy Tuberville, is officially a member of the U.S. Senate. This race in Alabama has been called. Doug Jones is unseated.
Cool. I wonder what scandal he'll be made to take the blame for in the next decade.
Tommy Tuberville?
Because this is what always happens when the pseudo-celebrity makes their way into Congress. They get to be the jerk that they get to be the Al Franken, they get to be the Keating, they get to be the whomever you wish to use. They get to be the guy that gets to sit in there for a little while and then take the blame for some massive scandal. That's usually how it works. So I wonder what scandal they'll drop on him in the next few years, because they let these celebrities into Congress and they don't really let them, they don't really let them do the job. They're like, oh yeah, you're here. That's so cute. You think you're one of us.
So current popular vote update, by the way. So Donald Trump is up just under 3 points, and that's just under 2 million votes. He's probably still going to lose that. The West Coast, the largely popular West Coast, including California, is where the Dems are going to run up the score there. It doesn't matter. So
yeah,
likely to still lose the popular vote. So Fox's metrics, by the way, says it's like a
37.6 to 36.3 is what I'm seeing.
Yeah, no, 95% chance that the Republicans will hold the majority in the Senate. They still have an 88% chance Biden wins, and like a 95% chance the Dems hold the House. I don't know how Fox is the only one not on the. It's not a toss-up at least.
I can give some potential insight to that. I think that it behooves Fox to say that Biden is going to win in hopes that Trump does, and it behooves CNN to say that Trump is doing well in hopes that Biden wins, because everybody wants to view their guy as the comeback kid. This is all part of their narrative. It's not real for the most part. They're trying to paint a picture. They're trying to sell a narrative, and in essence, they want it to be the last minute touchdown. They want to sell it as, Donald Trump wasn't supposed to win, but he came back from behind, and all of a sudden he's there, and Joe Biden against all odds.
Some news out of your guys' state here. Orange Man is up 12 points, which is about 180,000 votes with about a third in.
He's winning it.
What's percentage on that?
12 points. 12 points.
12 points.
55-43.
Okay. All right. Hey. You know what?
Let me find. I'm gonna go look into do some John James digging here. I want to see how he's doing.
Yeah. How do you feel about that one, Ed? What you think? You think John James has a? You're a Michigander. Does John James have a shot at unseating Gary Peters?
Probably not. I don't think he's gonna win.
Yeah, I don't either. I just wondering.
So
yeah, no, I don't either. I was going to ask you about your what congressional district you're in, but you probably don't want to answer that, and that's okay. I don't blame you.
Okay, so John James is currently up with about a third precincts reporting. He's up about 350,000 votes. The precincts not yet reporting are most of Oakland County, most of just north of Grand Rapids, Lansing, and some areas up in the index finger, which that's a lot of Democrats still to be counted.
No,
especially with all the mail-in votes uncounted still too.
Well, okay. Another thing too is that people woke on the layout of Michigan may think Oakland County is going to go Republican, but that's not the case actually, especially because the parts of Oakland County that are going to report earlier are the richer parts, but the biggest city in Oakland County is Pontiac, which is going to go heavily Democrat.
Very blue.
Extremely blue, just as blue as Detroit. So, Oakland County will, those Oakland County votes that we're waiting on are going to go to Gary Peters. The Wayne County votes are going to go heavily to Gary Peters. That doesn't change anything about my opinion on how that race is going to play out. And I know we're, the parts of this show are kind of being heavily Michigan based because I live in Michigan. Our current guest is from Michigan. Our last guest is from Michigan. Our past guest is from Michigan. And our host here is a former Michigander. So, and we're all Midwesterners. So it's going to, it's going to play out.
What? Hang on. So might have some goofy results, including a very strong Joe Jorgensen showing in Wisconsin coming. Hang on.
Yes, I was going to ask you what's...
I need to verify its authenticity. Hang on.
Okay. How many electoral votes is she getting?
Wisconsin, I think, is 10 or 13.
Wisconsin is, I think it's 10. I'm trying to look. Yeah, it's 10.
Okay, not an authentic image. I has been Twitter trolled. The graphic shows Trump at 38, Biden at 37, Jorgensen at 24. In reality, per Fox News, it's Trump 51, Biden 47, Jorgensen 1. Oh, sorry. 51, 40. Yeah, 51 and a half, 46.8, 1.
I'm starting to I'm buying into the Fox News count right now anyway because it's stayed where it's at for quite some time.
Yeah.
129 to 109. Biden's gaining on popular vote. Trump is up on popular vote. Right now, as it is, Biden is up electorally, down popular vote, which many people are predicting, both of those things will switch.
So Arizona has started reporting. Hang on, let me pull some Arizona numbers. Arizona is Biden's up 54-45 with 71% in. Yuck. Florida still has not been called by anybody, even though Trump's up like 400,000 votes with 91% in, which is interesting because there's only like 50,000 votes left to count that they won't call it for him.
So, Josh, the
Yes.
question you asked earlier, who do you think is going to be president in May of 2021?
And I'm going off gut feeling right now. Gut feeling. I'm going to say Donald Trump. But I don't have a ton to back that up with. I really don't. I think Trump's going to win. That's totally a gut feeling. I think that I think incumbents are very hard to unseat. And I think he's going to win. I kind of echo what you said earlier, Ed, that I don't see who these people are who are supporting Joe Biden other than hardcore Dems. And I don't are there people out there who are voting for Joe Biden? Well, yes, of course there are. There are people out there on both sides of the aisle who would vote for anyone with a D next to their name. there is such a huge part of the population that would vote for Mickey Mouse if you put a D next to their name, and who would vote for Donald Duck if you put an R next to their name. It's a huge portion of this population. But I just don't see a lot of Joe Biden support. As much as I loathed and still loathe Hillary Clinton as a human being, but I feel there was more reason to jump behind Hillary Clinton, honestly, than there was to jump behind Joe Biden. He's a enormous nothing burger.
He probably had more legitimate support too, even if
it seems like it. It seems like it to me. It would make sense to me. And I really don't know. I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to think. But yeah, prediction, gun to my head. I'm coming Harambe, not an option. I have to guess. Yeah, I think it's going to be Donald Trump.
How do you think
next year?
How do you think this end of the year, beginning of next year is going to play out?
I think it's going to be a mess. I do. I think it's going to be a mess. I think they're gonna fight over it like crazy. I think it's going to go to the Supreme Court. I think a lot of things constitutionally are going to come into play. I think at the end of it all, it's mostly going to come down to vote counting, like it did in 2000. I think that then they're gonna make their choice, and I do think the Supreme Court will make it so it's established by Inauguration Day, like they have in the past. And by the past, I only mean that one time in 2000, 2001. You know, I do think that is unrelated to the beginning part of the question where I said Donald Trump. By saying Donald Trump, that was just a gut feeling. I admit that's just a gut feeling, because I do think that the Supreme Court will jump in and will kind of try to make sense of all this.
Trump starting to run away with Pennsylvania and Ohio.
If that's the case, so then
that's the ball game.
Probably would. Yeah, probably.
The only thing for some potential fuckery in Pennsylvania is they are not counting any mail-ins until tomorrow, and not expecting to report results until Friday.
Yeah, it's several states have said that, and it's all important ones. You know, and you have Michigan and Pennsylvania both saying that. So this whole thing could be held in limbo, just from a handful of states taking too long to decide, basically.
So when inevitably not everybody dies of COVID-19 after going to the polls today, doesn't that basically show that all this mail-in voting was bullshit? Nobody will see it that way, but
yeah, I mean, I don't disagree, Ed. I mean, you went in. We all went in today and mailed in, or not mailed in vote. We all voted in person, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Did you wear a mask, Ed?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh, you statist.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm your local cowardly statist here too.
Oh my God! You guys wore your face diaper, your magic muzzle, into the polls today.
Not that I really want to defend this too hard, because I'm with you on this, Josh. But getting, what do they call them, the net gator, like the thing that.
That's what I wore.
Yeah, that Dorf loves those. Dorf tried to wear one of those on the show.
Hey, the one that I showed you, that was the one I wore today. My American flag one.
That's actually
America.
No, but
you guys are flag waving.
It has the filtration value of Swiss cheese, so I'm legally compliant, but I can still breathe.
That's basically it's easier to breathe that thing, because if I could just have the thinnest possible thing, but also having one of those is actually more functional because it goes around your neck. So now that it's getting cold outside, it actually has some utility.
Oh yeah, so I was waiting outside this morning. It was like 36 degrees with a pretty steady breeze, We were outside.
Wow, I'm sold. I'm gonna totally start wearing a mask just like that tomorrow.
I was
guys.
gonna say I pulled it up, standing in line outside, even though there's no point, when you're generally spaced 5 to 6 feet apart.
No, I'll admit it,
I did it to stay a little bit warmer.
I cucked out a little bit. I mean, I didn't want there to be any chance of starting a scuffle or getting kicked out and not being able to or whatever, since they seem to be pushing that pretty hard. But yeah, no, and I've gone into a lot of places not wearing masks too, but today I wore one.
Wow,
Josh, I'm surprised you just haven't started booing us.
I know. I'm
Are you disappointed in us?
It's like you guys remember Chandler from Friends years ago? Like that's what's going through my head right now. It's just like too many jokes. I don't know what to say. No, it's man, you guys are all right.
Okay,
all right. Well, that's cool.
So is Jo Jorgensen gonna do away with the masks?
I have no idea. She's not going to be president.
Well, but I mean, if you had you have two people who actually have a possibility of becoming president right now, why are you not voting for the one that might actually go away? Because he's the only person out there who's basically
I know, all I know is I watched the last debate and there was only one person on that stage who said that he was going to bring in a vaccine and have the military enforce it. And that was Donald Trump.
Yeah, it's also probably BS too. He says,
"Well, it probably is." Okay, so either he's terrible or he's full of shit. Either way, I don't know. All I know is, listen, I'm not sticking up for Joe Biden. I can't stand Joe Biden. The Democrats are awful, but Donald Trump's been president for 4 years, and I have witnessed the largest loss of liberty in American history under his watch,
and also the largest transfer of wealth too.
Right. So you can say what you want. You can blame the Democrats for that, and that's fine. You can blame Democratic governors or Nancy Pelosi. You can blame whoever you want, but since when is a president not responsible for what happens on his watch? Under the Trump administration, I've seen the largest loss of liberty in American history.
Yep, can't argue that.
Well, what, you're not going to do anything with FDR and internment camps? You're just going to leave that alone?
No.
Okay.
No.
Are you saying because that wasn't for everybody and that was just a small group?
Sure. Okay.
Okay.
And at least we're in the middle of World War II now.
So Josh, what you said is technically correct. So it is a fact, but that doesn't mean that it is all on him either. I mean, is he responsible for the supposed?
Oh, didn't say it was. No, absolutely not. No. No.
Like the same thing they try to pull of, oh, well, look at all those people you died.
That's what they try to pull. That's not what I'm trying to pull.
Okay.
So yeah, that's not me at all. Listen, I decided 4 years ago that Donald Trump wasn't somebody that I could vote for, and that Hillary Clinton wasn't somebody I could vote for. This year, I decided that Joe Biden was absolutely not somebody I could vote for. I don't need a perfect candidate. I'm not one of those people that says their candidate has to be perfect. That's not me. That's not me. But they have to at least be good. And when you vote for the lesser of two evils, you are still voting for evil.
Wait a minute. How many new wars has Donald Trump started?
None.
None. But
has he ended them all though? We're still in Afghanistan.
Okay, I mean, so you know this, but so there are several people in his cabinet. You see, he has to have members confirmed by the Senate, correct? Part of the issue is
for his cabinet.
Yeah, certain members have to be confirmed, don't they? Or not for?
Not really. I mean, to make it official, but a president can listen to whoever he wants. I mean, Donald Trump's cabinet's been a rotating door of people that now hate him. So but
so doesn't Attorney General? I thought that has to be confirmed, right?
Yeah.
Is that it? confirmable position.
Yes,
So-
it is a confirmable position.
Well, one of the issues, I mean, just throwing this out there, I think William Barr is probably the biggest shill in government right now, as evidenced by the fact that he has not done anything about any of these governors or anything about the riots that have been going on, when in fact he could actually take action, and there are reasons he could take action because they're crossing state lines and all that. But there's no way that any president that you get in is going to be able to confirm that position because of all the shills you have in the Republican Party.
Okay, I want to clear something up with that. Okay, there is nothing that the Attorney General of the United States can do that the President of the United States can't do. Nothing whatsoever. The Attorney General is simply the second biggest cop in the U.S. He when it comes to things that the Attorney General work upon, he is the mouthpiece of the president. Just like when it comes to foreign policy, the Secretary of State is the mouthpiece of the president. When it comes to monetary things, the Secretary of Treasury is the mouthpiece of the president. But there's nothing they can do that the president cannot do. So if William Barr did it wrong, then Donald Trump did it wrong. I mean, that's all there is to it. These positions exist simply because we work under the idea that the president can't do all things at the same time.
Correct.
That it's already a ridiculously hard job. He needs to delegate it in some way. And this is the ever expanding cabinet positions, or where they spawn from. I mean, there are no cabinet positions in the Constitution.
I mean,
it's all made up after the fact.
I mean,
but
there's some truth. I'm not a big government guy. I don't want to have 1 million people, but can you have? I mean, would it be realistic for the president to not have some of these positions to delegate some of these things to?
No, I'm all for it. But then when things are happening, such as, let's come up with a random example, say like statewide mask mandates, that's when the president has to step in. Joe Biden, for instance, says, and I can't stand this, Joe Biden says that he will issue a nationwide mask mandate. Now, how is that possible? Donald Trump, the president of the United States, told us that the president's not allowed to do that. Now, if the president's allowed to say that you can have a nationwide mask mandate, then the president's also allowed to say you aren't allowed to have a nationwide mask mandate, because the president swears to protect the Constitution. The Constitution is supposed to protect our rights. So when my rights were violated, people who swore to protect the Constitution, whether it be buck privates in the Army all the way up to the president of the United States, they didn't do shit for me. None of them did anything for me. Not one of them stepped in and said, that's not right. You can't do that to our American citizens. Nobody said that. Not one person. And if there were a handful of people in government who actually stuck their nose out and said that stuff, I'd be supporting them. But because of that, that's why I refuse to vote for any incumbent whatsoever. I voted for 2 Republicans this time around. Both times because they were not incumbents. I voted for 1 Democrat. And the rest, I voted Libertarian or third party or left it blank. Because I have no use for people who swear an oath to the Constitution and then do nothing to protect my rights.
Interesting breaking news here. Some split ticketing going on in North Carolina. So North Carolina is, well, obviously presidential, with a senator and a governor up. Roy Cooper, Democrat, is going to win re-election as governor. Looks like Tom Tillis is going to barely hold on to his Senate seat. But Donald Trump is projected to have a narrow victory as well in the state for the election. So a lot of split ticketing in North Carolina.
Yikes. And yeah, that's I think we both picked North Carolina for Trump, right?
Yes, we did.
So,
well, I did.
Yeah.
I don't remember yours, but I did for sure.
Yeah, no, I know I did for sure as well. God, that's a state that I just I never would have thought would go anywhere else but Trump. But I guess it is a swing state. I do still think it's going to go for Trump. But yikes. Yeah, I mean, when I think of the Carolinas, I think,
Utah has just been called for Trump. Not that that was ever in doubt, but
okay. Yeah, all right. Yeah, I didn't have that in there yet.
What the fluff? Montana is currently trending Biden.
The only reason Utah was ever in question at all was just kind of the idea that Mitt Romney would sway his people into being never Trumpers, but with abortion being such an enormous issue there, I didn't think it'd be I didn't think anybody but Trump was taking Utah.
Yeah. So RCP currently has the race at 118-107, Biden-Harris. The Senate even at 41, and the Republicans losing one seat in the House out of races called so far.
Okay.
So the only thing that's happened in the Senate right now is Alabama was traded for Colorado.
Okay. Which, yeah, I mean, as I recall, I predicted this. The Senate is 53-47 right now. I predicted that it stay 53-47.
You have it holding 53-47. I have it 51-49 GOP.
Okay, but I didn't predict that there wouldn't be any swapping. It just kind of turned out that mine was still going to be 53-47, but there was going to be some back and forth in there. But yeah, I really don't see the Republicans losing the Senate here.
All right, so just some more updates on Michigan, the Senate race. John James still up 55-7 to 42-5, with now 38% in. New York Times still is putting, let's see, Battleground Tracker, where did it go? Biden is holding a very solid lead in Arizona with 75% in. That is surprising, up 9. Trump up 5 in Ohio with 75% in. It's good news for Trump. Trump running up the score in Georgia. That's good. Biden, huge lead with only 37% in Minnesota. He's up 24. Wisconsin, Trump up 2. Pennsylvania, Trump up 10. Iowa, Biden plus 17 with a quarter in. Pennsylvania only has 32% reporting, per the New York Times. Oh, man. Ed, so anything else, man? I know you're donating your time here, volunteering your time. I don't know how much longer we got you here for, but anything else? Anything you want to get into?
No, not really. Just wanted to stop by and tell you guys you were wrong.
Hey, I was more corrector.
Yeah, actually, you're pretty close. You're not too far off.
Okay.
Thanks for chiming in, Ed. We really appreciate it, man.
Oh, no problem.
Good to hear from you again. Good to cast the pods with you, man.
Yeah.
Let's do it again soon.
Yep. Thanks for having me.
All right. Talk to you later, Edward.
For sure, buddy. That was former
And I apologize, Josh.
XCast contributor Edward coming in there. And it was good to hear from him again.
I'm sorry. I just put your phone number on camera.
What's up, Dorf?
I just put your phone number on camera. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right. That's right.
Okay.
Really, if you were going to do that to anyone in the world, it's totally fine. Do it to me. It's
Okay.
I really don't care. Give me a call, guys. You found my phone number.
I love Ed. The email
Not a problem.
Ed did to call in was Trump's winning it all tonight at gmail.com.
Yeah. Way to set up an email just for our show.
Yeah.
Ed is a character. Love that guy. He's hilarious. Crazy dude.
Yep.
And for those of you out there who were going to get, offended by Ed throwing a slur out to me earlier, it's kind of a old inside joke from the the old XCast days.
Okay.
If you were offended by it, I'm sorry, and Ed probably doesn't care. But it is what it is. All right, so Fox is now saying 133, 115. They have upped that a little bit. I don't know what exactly they
Looks
called.
like Biden wins New Hampshire.
Okay.
We check in on Maine. We haven't looked at that in a while.
Shows Trump winning the popular 31% reporting. Excuse me.
You got Maine, you're talking?
Yeah.
Who's your source on that?
Right now I'm looking at Fox. 51.4, Donald Trump, 45.8, Biden, 31% reporting.
New York Times only has 17% in, and it has Trump up 49-47 with pretty much nobody counted. So
yeah, they're showing 83,000 votes to 74,000 votes in Maine on Fox.
Spokesman for Philadelphia Election Commission says city will announce a round of mail-in ballot results between 12 and 1 a.m. As of 10 p.m. As of 10 p.m., about 76,000 mail-in ballots had been processed. 437,000.
Okay.
AP is reporting Louisiana has passed a state constitutional amendment to ban abortion at a 66-33 margin. Your thoughts?
Right now.
Will this be found?
Say that again.
Louisiana has banned abortion by state constitutional measure.
Really? They're doing that right now?
Yep.
It's just that was on the ballot? It was a referendum?
State ballot initiative to the Constitution of Louisiana.
I mean, it won't stand up. I mean, Roe v. Wade states that abortion must be legal in the first trimester. They can basically, they can make it illegal in the third trimester. They can practically make it illegal in the second trimester, or make it so difficult that it's practically illegal. But abortion in the first trimester is legal nationwide.
Tom Tillis now reportedly up 2% in North Carolina with 95% reporting. Joe Biden has lost his own hometown of Lackawanna, Pennsylvania. So he's not technically from Scranton. That's just outside of Scranton. By 18.
Really?
He's lost it by 18 points. For reference, Hillary won by 3.
Yikes.
21-point swing for Cheeto Hitler.
Well, they know you best at home.
Oh yeah, my favorite is he's on stage in Philadelphia this weekend. Oh yeah, like I was always called Pennsylvania's third senator, and I've got my Eagles jacket on here. Go Eagles! And he's wearing a Delaware State University of Delaware Blue Hens jacket. It's like, bro, you can't even pander good. Come on.
No, yeah, not knowing what city you're in is one thing.
I'm
not knowing what jacket you're wearing. Yeah, I mean, like, like they make fun of Kamala Harris because she, had the hot mic saying, what city are we in? And it sounds tacky, it sounds
Well, I
lousy.
mean, they're in 4 or
But
5 places
you kind
a
of
day.
get it though, don't
I
you?
get them.
You
I
kind of get
that
it.
there.
You're literally, they throw you in the back of the limo, you try to sleep, for 15 minutes because they're running you 24/7. And I get it. You don't even know what city you're in. It makes you sound disingenuous for sure, but I get it. But to not know what jacket you're wearing, I mean, bro, you're wearing it. Look at the sleeve. Please.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's something else. Okay.
Let me look at Ohio. Let's do a deeper dive into Ohio here. You know what? I'm going to try and see if I can't get... I'm going to try and get this so we can pull it up on stream and talk about it as we look at it. So I got to see if I can get it to load. So I'm currently running 2 computers. I'm looking at all the polling and twittering I've been doing. Has been done on computer 2, which is not running the stream. However, I can't poll. I can't. I may not have enough power to process everything. Intensive, constant refresh. There may just not be enough power in the computer to broadcast this live image here. So let me see if I can't get that pulled up for us.
Cool.
Josh, any changes on your 269 to 269 prediction as of now? Or are you strong and fast? Because it's still a very likely possibility.
No, at this point, nothing has happened that's gonna make me break from it. I mean, I kind of already confessed that gut feeling says Trump over Biden, but other than that, nothing's changed in my basic predictions for the outcome. What are you bringing up now?
Okay, I got it to load, so we're gonna look at some. I've got New York Times up here. Uh-oh. Maybe I don't have New York Times up here. Reassemble this. Whoops. Can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. No,
looks like something just got added on the Fox one. CNN hasn't changed. Fox is saying 133, 115.
Yeah.
Biden.
Yeah, I need to. I just the way I show. The way I was going to show this on the stream, I accidentally hit some buttons and I destroyed the deck that makes that easy to do. So I have to rebuild that. It shouldn't take more than a second. So, but either way, keep talking.
Right on.
I got some work to do.
Yeah, I will. Right on. I am kind of there is something that Americans shouldn't have to worry about, but I guess we do. Is there is kind of just an underlying idea right now of not only is your guy gonna win, but is your city gonna burn?
Oh yeah.
Will there be riots?
They're already.
I was joking earlier.
Columbia, by the way.
Right, they are. I was joking earlier by saying, does the Civil War start tonight, or does it start this weekend? Does it start during inauguration? I'm trying to plan my fall and winter here, and I'm wondering, when this is going down. And I'm making light of it, but we are looking potentially at, maybe one of the first non-peaceful transfer of power in American history from president to president. It's a big deal. Maybe isn't that big of a deal in other countries, but it is here. That's kind of been tantamount of our system. And it raises certain questions. Will there be riots? Will it be worse than riots? Are we talking, I said the term civil war kind of tongue in cheek, but is there something to that? When and where will it begin? Where and when will it end? If it ends. And it even goes as far to ask the question is, will this be the last presidential election in American history as we know it? That doesn't necessarily mean this next person will be the last president, but will this be the last election as we know it? Or will they have to be different from time to time?
Sorry.
What's up, Dorf? What do you think? What are you saying?
Fox's Chris Wallace claims Florida is still a toss-up. Lol. Trump campaign reportedly concerned about Arizona, which is looking like it's the case. They have a lot of right to be concerned about Arizona. Is called it a night in ballot counting. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania's called it a night. They will pick up at 9 a.m. tomorrow. Less than half of their mail-in votes have been counted.
That's lame.
Yep.
They can't bring in a night shift?
Yep. Fuck those guys. Fuck them, fuck them, fuck them.
Yeah, really.
Have to stay there until it's done.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Yeah, if they can't handle it, bring in a new shift. I don't know. Yeah, that's pathetic.
Oh man.
No, I don't. Yeah, no, really. I have zero tolerance for the idea that this isn't important enough that you need to have a night shift or that you keep working through.
Yep.
Too many people in this country work too hard to hear the ballot people saying, "Yeah, we're good, we're tired, we'll just pick it back up tomorrow." Yeah, no thanks. So basically, let's look. What are we waiting on here? We're waiting on Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, California. Obviously the West Coast states.
Polls open. Their polls are still open for another 5 minutes. Nevada closed less than an hour ago. Hasn't reported anything in. Oregon's open for another 5 minutes.
Arizona,
Washington is open
New
for another
Mexico,
5 minutes.
Texas, Minnesota, Iowa,
New Mexico
Georgia,
is
Florida.
currently 54-44 Biden with 62% in. Colorado is 56-41 Biden with 83 in. Idaho,
Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. I mean, it's the ones we thought we'd be waiting on. It's the swing states we're waiting on, basically. The big swing states.
Trump's still up in Wisconsin with 41% in. Wow. Trump up 11 in Michigan with 4% in. Trump up in Ohio with 83% in. Pennsylvania, you're not going to be able to know until tomorrow. This is all per the New York Times. Actually, we can put this on the damn screen. Let's do that. All right, it's now on your screen.
Yeah.
So we can go over this. So Texas, I don't know if you can read that or not. 51-6 to 47-1 Trump. That's a difference of 450-ish thousand, just under 450,000 votes. That one's probably ball game there. considering their mail-in ballots. You have to vote absentee. There is no mass mail-in. Voting absentee is really hard to do there. There's not likely any shenanigans there. Florida still has not been counted. Come on. That's an unsurmountable victory. Come on. Georgia, Fulton County, which is Atlanta with the burst pipe, says it's, pipe burst in a room storing ballots. However, none were damaged. It's just delaying things. North Carolina still not called. Still a decent enough Trump lead there. Pennsylvania, Trump. Wow, Trump up 15. Okay. Yep.
I imagine that will dwindle as
We're
the
gonna
big cities come.
We're gonna do some Senate maps here. So it's an even split so far on races called. Each side is taking one seat from the other. Whoop. Apparently, New York Times is not going to let me do that without a subscription. So screw them.
Get off your wallet, Dorf.
Not doing it. Fuck those guys. So we're back on camera again. I'll tell you what, man. We're kind of running out of steam here. We're not going to really know much for a couple of hours. How much longer do you want to go?
Yeah, I'd be happy to go over. I don't think much more is going to come in tonight, man.
Oh, by the way, John J. performing Donald Trump in Michigan.
Really?
Yep.
Not good for the R's.
No, that's
not good.
Well, that's good for Gary Peters. That's bad for Gary Peters. Bad for Trump's presidential campaign. Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm thinking about calling it a night here shortly. What about you?
Yeah, no, that's fine. That's fine with me. At this point, I'm not. I don't see what else is going to happen tonight, unfortunately. And I was afraid this was going to happen. I mean, this is always kind of the story, but unfortunately, I think we all knew this was going to happen with the methodology of voting changing, basically.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say? I mean, Dorf, I feel like we haven't covered this part of it enough. What do you think is going to happen? I mean, I fear that there's going to be some serious ramifications from just the way the country is handling all.
Talking civil unrest.
Yes, I am. I'm saying, I mean, are we going to be able?
I'm going to be cynical here. I think Barr and Trump have been handling protesters with kid gloves, for lack of a better term. Whereas there's been plenty of federal charges available to not allow the mainstream media to spin. He's a fascist. He's locking up peaceful protesters, even though that's not what was happening. New York Times is just called Washington, Oregon, California because they're both closed. So, anyway,
to be expected.
Yeah, no surprise there.
Fox News did the same. Right now we have 207 to 119. That's according to Fox News.
Yeah, well, likely Trump wins, which another 90 or 100 points worth. So, anyway, but once they don't have to run for election again, you're going to see a ratchet up of federal charges for shenanigans, and the same people who are behind locally destruction on a repeated schedule, essentially, a la Portland, DC. It'll kind of burn. The primary miscreants are spending large amounts of time behind federal prison bars. So I hate to break it to you, Trump. Your you're talking about the overall prison population being down. That trend's probably about to reverse because you're about to throw a bunch of commie LARPing, or rioting, property destruction, and wanton endangerment. So
probably. No, it's just what do you think about the future of the country? What do you think? Are we gonna push? It's 2024.
Well,
are we still?
I think
Are we still doing this the same way?
Trump wins.
Or are there
he's already
drastic changes
started to
made?
go after critical race theory, which is a big part of this. It's Marxism. It's Marxism equals, meets. His willingness to see. I think you'll see 230 reform, which will probably destroy the social media industry, which will be a net benefit for us as a culture. It will no longer be profitable to be because you'll have to either allow it to be the Wild West, where back in the good old days, where as long as you weren't posting anything explicitly illegal, it was you weren't to be censored. Or they will become de facto publishers where you'll have to be allowed to publish things, or your Facebook minder will have to approve your post, or you'll have to be essentially an approved content creator. It won't be the media of the people anymore. So that will be a net gain for the culture, largely a win for the conservative movement. And if he goes after the corrupt, rotten institutions of public government, which he's already signaled he's trying to do, he passed signed an executive order making it easier to fire, career tracked, poorly performing federal employees. Net positive there. Also, go after the university establishment, which is churning out these useless communist LARPers, because they're not good for anything. I know that has some huge potential issues with free speech and the First Amendment. I'm fully aware of that. Not sure how I feel about it in the end, but at the same time, if you don't do it, America's already rotting from within. The end of the American empire, let's call it, will happen in my lifetime if we don't start fighting back on that stuff.
And now from both sides of the aisle right now, you basically have the idea, I know we're trying to wrap up here, but you basically have the idea that, not a new idea, totally anyway, that this is the most important election in American history. And that, if one or the other of these candidates are elected, that it's basically all over. Is this ridiculous? Or is there some truth to this? I mean,
Fox
is the country drastically different?
Hang on, Josh. Fox has finally called Florida for Trump.
Okay.
Only took him 5 hours.
Wow, I mean that's showing that this is we got a ball game here. That's we're doing that. Is one of these presidents going to destroy the country? I mean, is it? Is 2021, 2022 America drastically different under a President Trump or a President Biden?
Not if the GOP holds the Senate. If the GOP holds the Senate and under a Biden administration, they will not be able to get most of their more radical things through. They'll get a lot of the more mainstream centrist stuff, be able to, because it's hard to be against normie shit. It's pretty easy to filibuster extremism. it will become more. I think you will see some more street level political violence, that's inevitable here anyway, which is why I always advise people be strapped at all times. Never know when your life may be in danger.
Stay strapped or get clapped, man.
I know you and I both are concealed carry holders, and I'm sure we both, I'm sure you're okay with me sharing.
No, I prefer to use my Fifth Amendment right when asked about my Second Amendment right.
Okay. You neither can confirm nor deny whether my statement is true. Anyway, so yeah, things aren't going to get more pleasant. The only way it was going to get more pleasant would be potentially Trump wins in a bigger landslide than before, which doesn't look like it's going to happen. Still think he wins, probably close to what I predicted, and I had 289, 249. Trump wins in a landslide. The media networks, which have made, they make a lot of money by saying Orange Man bad repeatedly, have to do some serious in-looking, and they fire some key executives and change the directions of their media networks. That would be a big positive help. But if a 40-point win, like I've predicted, doesn't accomplish that, it's 4 more years of Trump is Hitler, Orange Man bad, Republicans are racist, bigoted instead of normal people.
I personally think it aids the leftist cause to have Donald Trump as president. It's they get to scream their stuff, they get to yell Orange Man bad. It actually, to be honest with you, it pushes me even further into what most consider conspiracy theory. It pushes me further into that I feel like the leftist agenda is pushed better under a Republican president, and honestly I think that the conservative agenda is pushed better under a Democratic president.
Hey,
I
got something here for you. Large groups of black bloc clad Antifa, if you want to call them that, have started to march around DC, and they've started beating up people with cameras or phones out. There was a guy earlier today, it looked like, based on the video I saw walking outside the Treasury building right when we went on, they got clubbed over the head with a baseball bat by somebody in black bloc.
Yikes.
The U.S. Secret Service built a unscalable fencing perimeter outside the White House. Antifa throws a temper tantrum tonight. They were going to either way in D.C. Over under, Josh, a number of Antifa clapped by the Secret Service.
Yikes! I think it's going to be low early. I do. I think it's going to be low early. I think they're going to go out of their way to, much like governors.
Quite frankly, if they breach the fucking perimeter, it's, you get a 308 round to the chest.
Oh no, it's not like Donkey Kong if they breach the perimeter. I don't know how many of them will do that.
Yeah, that's frankly, you have the precision rifle guys up on the roof at all times anyway. One guy makes it through, you get a 308 to the chest. Otherwise, he probably grabbed a squad automatic weapon that he's got stashed up there too, and starts lighting up the south lawn. Which I hope that doesn't happen.
Officially, on election night, how many go down? I'm gonna say 0. 0, 0, 0.
They're fucking cowards? Is that what you're thinking?
No, because they're not gonna let those numbers out.
Oh well, come on! Everything's being recorded. That damn well that somebody gets.
No, I think they're going to go out of their way to do their very best to not kill anybody tonight. But when shit gets real, then shit gets real, and it'll go down. I think they're going to do everything they can to keep that number solidly at 0 for now, for to keep up public appearance. But I mean, if it gets bad, it's going to get bad. I don't know what to say about that.
Wisconsin says no way they're announcing a winner tonight. Michigan says they need till Friday. Pennsylvania till Friday. Officials in all these states. Those are all states that were polled to go to Biden but are trending heavily Trump tonight. I bet you every fucking lawyer under the sun is going to be in those states watching that shit.
They are.
Holy shit. You hope to God there's no fuckery there.
It's one of those things. Listen, whether it's your top political analyst or somebody who is a political novice, we all predicted a shit show. Get ready for the shit show. Everyone was so sick of hearing about this, and myself included. We've all been so sick of hearing about election crap
Trump
for the last 2 weeks.
Trump seems to be getting. Sorry, Josh, I'm going to interrupt you here again. Trump.
That's okay.
Trump looks like he's going to carry Ohio, currently up 53.1 to 45.4 with 92% in. Yikes.
Well, it's listen, like I was saying, man, it's nothing profound, but we all predicted a shit show. Get ready for the shit show.
Yeah.
We thought the election stuff was annoying. That was the calm before the storm. It's gonna be a while. Let's hope that as Americans, all we can do is hope that come Inauguration Day, we have a clear-cut answer, and that the clear-cut answer will lead to a peaceful transfer of power. That's basically it. That's all we can basically hope for. And even though this is a shit show, at this point there's no reason to think that won't happen, other than cultural divide. But there's nothing specifically that's been shown to show that won't happen. So let's hope it does. Let's hope it does. Let's hope this happens with no bloodshed and no nothing terrible.
Okay. Wow. Man, anything else, dude? Otherwise,
I think I'm good. I'm sure we'll be right back with everyone. This was really fun doing a live stream. Dorf, I hope this isn't the last. I think we should. Do it again.
I'm gonna rewatch it. I'm gonna rewatch selections of it just to check on quality, because I can't tell necessarily how it's recording up. But
sure,
my computer has been under a lot less of a load doing this than recording it traditionally, so we might just live stream from now on.
I love live stream, man. You know me. I've that's how I've always been. I prefer to do live stuff. But hey, this has been fun doing this. Dorf, thank you for putting this together. Thanks for the graphics. Thanks for all the extra work. Extra shout out and thank you to Edward and to Adam Hernandez, our two guests. They were racy and colorful, but most importantly, they were fun. And I liked it all. So thanks to them. Double thanks to you, Dorf, and thanks everybody out there for listening. It'd have been really fun to be able to say, hey, so and so won, but I think we all knew that probably wasn't going to happen tonight.
All right.
So
gun to your head. Who's the final victor? So said done.
I'm not going to change anything. My electoral thing was a tie, and I'm not falling back on that. Gut feeling, I said Trump before, and I'll say Trump now.
Okay, I'm going to say Donald Trump as well, about what I predicted. Roughly 290 electoral. So, and I, based on what I'm seeing here tonight, I think, quite honestly, my Senate prediction is going to be spot on as well, which is 149 at the end of the night. Senate will lose a couple seats. So, all All right, that's gonna do it, guys.
Yeah, I said 53-47, but basically GOP holds Senate, Dems hold the House. We're pretty much on par with that. So.
Okay. All right, we'll see y'all next time, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.